guy just awakened and he's already got a legendary skill. Finally, he can show the world the absolute power of staying virgin by gaming for 11 years straight. When the apocalypse began, he rushed to get magical items. When he arrived at the secret location, he was too late. The barbecue had already started. 5 minutes earlier, this girl and her young 80-year-old sidekick were the ones who did it. Several people were there to steal the magic items now that the world had become chaos. People were fighting over each magic item, so this guy yelled and told everyone to give up. This caught their attention. He then said that he would take everything for himself. Of course, people wouldn't listen. When the guy showed his awakened ability and proved he was the strongest, the old man showed an even better one. He turned him into charcoal without mercy. "That's because of your arrogance," said the young old man. The girl Yuri announced to everyone that all the items in the tower belonged to her and Grandpa. "Does anyone have a problem with that? Fight her right now." Then Kang Jin-hyuk simply walked past her, completely ignoring her. He was only interested in the magical items. "Look what you've done to this item. You almost ruined something so good." Seeing someone dissing her, the girl ordered her Anubis summon to attack. One hit from that thing can kill anyone, no joke. But when that powerful spear came close, the MC just swatted it away with a simple punch. That attack should have smashed a wall, so how the hell? The girl's jaw dropped. Everyone else's too. Truth is, none of them know Kang Jin-hyuk's secret identity. The protagonist praised the girl's skill, giving it a solid 5 out of 10. She got pissed and pulled out 4 more statues to summon. Jin-hyuk was so impressed by all that power. Just look at his face full of shock and terror. The girl realized he wasn't fazed, but it didn't make sense. Look at these giant, deadly, powerful soldiers. Then Jin-hyuk admitted it. The girl's power isn't weak, and that old man isn't just anybody. But compared to him, it's pretty pathetic. The girl declared she didn't like him. He's way too arrogant and full of himself. Jin-hyuk then asked what the difference was between arrogance and just being confident in your own powers. To prove he was right to look down on her, Jin-hyuk uses the amulet he just found. If she wants a summon battle, feast your eyes on a real powerful beast. When the mountain god tiger got the order to wipe everyone out, Yuri felt fear run through her body. That tiger ate her dogs like a hamburger in a fat kid's hands. Thinking she was about to be the side of fries for that burger left her hopeless. Is this the end? Dying a virgin even though she's this hot? But when Jin-hyuk walked up smiling like that, maybe that was about to change. Jin-hyuk said the game was over and that he wanted that. The girl covered up her goods and refused to give them up. But then Jin-hyuk crouched down and clarified he was talking about the Tutankhamun mask artifact. Yuri got pissed. And honestly, I don't know if she was mad because he wanted the mask, or because he didn't want the other thing she has. Jin-hyuk stared her down while she resisted, then gave her a signal, obey, and she gets to stay out of the tiger's stomach. She had no choice. Better to stay alive today to fight another day. The girl asked if he was after the map of the eastern lands. Jin-hyuk just smiled and warned her that the tiger is staying on guard duty. If anyone tries to tail him, they're dead meat. The truth none of them know is that Jin-hyuk isn't like these people. Just a few hours ago, our protagonist was just a total loser, like me, and you watching this video. He spent hours every day gaming on his computer. This game, where he spent 11 years grinding to become rank 1, wasn't simple. It was harder than Dark Souls. We're talking invincible bosses, massive maps, and traps everywhere. Literally every other player rage quit the game. But this loser virgin, he didn't quit. For 11 long years, he sweated it out and became the first and only player to clear the game. As soon as he did, a live stream showed something insane happening in real time. The tower from the game's opening cutscene appeared in real life. Right in front of everyone, a system window popped up saying they were now awakened, and that if no one clears the tower in 90 days, humanity is wiped out. While almost everyone was freaking out and seeing a crisis, Jin-hyuk saw an opportunity. He ran towards the place everyone was running away from, but he wasn't the only one. A bunch of ex-players realized this was the game's tower and headed to the first event location. One of them was a guy he knew, someone who worked at the same streaming company, and asked to team up. Jin-hyuk didn't need to pretend to be nice anymore. He delivered a headbutt hard enough to knock 2 teeth right out of Lee Jong-soo's mouth. Jin-hyuk made it crystal clear. They aren't friends, and they aren't going to be allies. The truth is, Jin-hyuk is the one with the most knowledge about the game. He has no advantage in teaming up with weaklings. As soon as the event kicked off, a giant tree popped up in the center of the hall. Those red fruits hanging from it are the loot everyone is drooling over. People rushed the tree like they hadn't eaten in 10 days. One bite gives you a +3 stat bonus. Once every single fruit was gobbled up, Jin-hyuk just stood there, grinning. Turns out, the tree got pissed off that people ate its fruit because it started attacking everyone. While the mob ran for their lives, Jin-hyuk chilled. He asked Jong-soo if he was a coward. He told him any idiot should know the real treasure only spawns after the fruits are gone. The guy didn't believe it, but he knows Jin-hyuk spent 11 years playing this game. He knows everything. So he proposed a truce to help each other out. Let's go together. But right when they ran, that bastard froze and shouted, "That's for trusting the guy who knocked out your teeth," trying to screw Jin-hyuk over. Jin-hyuk dodged the tree's attack. The branch missed him and went straight for Jong-soo, wrapping him up in a position that, well, you guys definitely recognize from those special tentacle animes. Jong-soo begged for help. Jin-hyuk just smiled and thanked him for being his bait. The target is the mangrove heart. Jinhyuk knows what to do. Unfortunately, that guy was such trash he couldn't even distract the tree for more than a few seconds. Jinhyuk grabbed a broken branch to use as a weapon. With his unexplained physical skills, he dodged and defended until he reached the prize. The moment he grabbed the heart, the tree died instantly. That was great. Inside the heart is a valuable gem with an effect way better than those fruits. Upon using it, he got 12 attribute points to choose from. Now that he's assigned those points, Jinhyuk is the strongest level 1 player around. Since each level up grants 3 points, getting 12 points is like having level 4 stats. An hour later, news portals announced that the first mangrove of greed has been cleared. A video of the feat will be uploaded to the internet in 10 minutes. The internet explodes. Everyone is talking about it. With few exceptions, most comments express suspicion, claiming he either got lucky or cheated. As soon as the video is posted online, the doubtful reactions intensify. Upon seeing the protagonist with a blurred face, viewers wonder if he hacked the game. They are shocked. The reactions, though varied little, are relentless. On his main account, several people offer sponsorships and partnerships. Even though he knows the mangrove is not easy to defeat at level 1, he didn't expect such a strong reaction of surprise. He finds it understandable since most people haven't played the game's final stages. Kang is very impressed to receive proposals of 1 billion won to collaborate with others. He had lived a very difficult life. Earning money to survive was a constant struggle. It was common to be late on rent payments. He even starved for days to save money for his live streams. The protagonist used to stream himself eating. If he had received such opportunities before, he would have accepted without hesitation. But now he doesn't plan to share his knowledge, not for 1 billion, nor even 10 billion won. The most important things for him now are information and monopoly. This leads to his next destination. The moment the game launched, mana leaked from the tower and spread throughout Seoul. It didn't have a significant effect, but the tower's artifacts suddenly became revered as sacred. Of course, they were fakes. The legendary artifacts were still safely guarded inside the tower. These were merely replicas. He plans to go to the place where he can acquire more of these copies. The National Museum of Korea was essentially a treasure chest, storing countless such items. He is not the only one targeting these replicas. Unlike the tree, which appeared in 7 locations, there is only one museum. People will gather from all regions, searching for these sacred artifacts. Among them will be players who were once ranked and even professionals. He enters the event area, noting that it is quieter than he imagined. As he expected, someone arrived before him, and that person's body is now fried and smoking. Given how much the world has changed, he had anticipated that people would adapt quickly. However, reality often differs from expectations, and some manage to become formidable in just one day. What everyone is targeting is an artifact kept in the classical medieval era gallery. It is the Great Map of the Eastern Land, and it is certainly not a map of Korea. This great map is imbued with magical energy, containing information about the Tower of Trials that everyone seeks. It reveals the locations of labyrinths and ruins, and explains the monsters found within each. That is why everyone wants this great map, even though its information only extends up to the 10th floor. This is more than enough to ignite the ambition in people's hearts, causing them to desire the item above all else. Consequently, they will forget the truly important artifacts hidden by the mud. It was at that moment that our protagonist reached where Yuri and the others were. He destroyed the girl easily, and is now heading to the next floor. Our protagonist has made the preparations, and is now seeking to acquire the strongest ability in the tower. Descending from the 2nd to the 3rd floor, the old man finds an artifact. He asks himself what is happening with Yuri. He wonders how the mysterious man got there. He also asks if he defeated Lee. Our protagonist recognizes the level 1 barrier that prevents passage. The old man says he has never seen a barrier like this before. However, he knows that no physical or magical attack works against this barrier. Our hero looks for the point where the mana flow diverges in order to pass through. He knew there was a way to destroy the barrier, but there was a condition. He asked the old man to constantly use his flame magic to weaken the barrier. The protagonist said, "You must do this until I go inside and return with all possible relics." At that moment, the old man understood that he must keep holding and using his magic while the protagonist was inside. Kang affirmed that he could not turn a high-ranking magic ability user into an enemy. No matter how much he thought about it, the elder concluded that he would have to trust the boy. The old man stated that he would trust the boy. The boy then said, "I will be under Grandpa's care." Immediately afterward, the old man said he would do his best and prepared his fire magic in his hands. He continuously cast magic against the barrier to weaken it, while our protagonist waited for an opening. Seeing the barrier open for a second, he prepared to cross. Our hero was not fooled and knew that someone someone had already been there, just like on the other floors. The iron sword with the name Qianlong written on its sheath was stolen. He recognized that the man who did this had already done what he needed to do there and left. He was also certain that it was this person who erected the barrier. The enemy was planning to leave after taking what he wanted. Kang noted that these people did not fight. The enemy was not trying to risk anything. The protagonist was certain that the enemy didn't know he picked up a second-hand relic. He then picked up the Yang Yong Tongbo. This was a personal inherent ability and the last piece of the puzzle. It was required to create a more powerful ability, along with the materials he needed. These materials included the Persian ceremonial mold and the others he had already acquired. Now the three relics were reacting with each other in front of him. At this moment, the system revealed that against all odds, he had successfully combined the relics. He acquired an SS-level relic called the Eye of Truth. It was very difficult to obtain and could see a person's status window, as well as determine if someone was telling the truth or not. The Eye of Truth was the best of the 5 eyes that exist in the world. Another reason that brought the protagonist here was the secret mission to combine 3 replicas and create an S-rank item. By acquiring the requirements, Kang gained the inherent ability of fusion. This skill allowed him to copy others' abilities and fuse them to create superior powers and dimensions. If the difficulty of the copy condition exceeded the limit, it would be partially altered. The old man said, "I cannot resist for much longer." He told our hero, "Come back if you are done." Kang Jin Hyuk thought about copying the old man's abilities and planned how to do it. The copy condition was to make Min reveal his feelings from beneath his mask. In other words, Kang just needed to irritate Min Jungwoo. When the old man told him to hurry up, Jin Hyuk told him, "Stop using your ability." This left the elder confused as Kang stated that there was no longer any reason for the old man to do so. The old man was shocked and asked, "Why did you ask me to use my powers?" Next, our hero used the word carpo to close the barrier. It was easy to break the barrier, provided one spoke in Latin, and the protagonist knew this. However, the old man actually did nothing to help him. Kang said the word in a low voice. There was no use attacking non-stop if the attacks did not even penetrate the barrier. It was a waste of magic. Now he knew that the elder's magic was exhausted, and his next step was to anger him. He already knew all the details about the tower. Therefore, the map, which has information only up to the 10th floor, was useless to Kang. This did not mean he would give up the information easily. While Min Jungwoo was confused about what he was doing, our hero had already explained earlier. He explained that he did not need the map, and was therefore about to set it on fire with a lighter. Since there was a chance that other people could gain knowledge of the 10 floors through the map, he burned the item. This left the old man with his mouth wide open as the flames devoured the ancient map. The only way to secure his position was by eliminating the chance that other players could learn about the 10 floors. The old man became very irritated that he burned the map and began to threaten our protagonist. This made him reach the conditions and copy the old man's powers. He successfully copied the B-level fire element ability. He saves this copied ability in the world's memories. Now, he can control fire. Because of this, his affinity with the element increases. The fire element is the beginning of his first copy. Min Jungwoo says, "You will regret what you did." He prepares his magic to attack Kang Jin Hyun. His level 1 fire element activates. Meanwhile, he explains to the old man why he burned the map. He activates his flames just like the elder does, startling him. The old man is now certain that the skill is identical to his own, but Kang's is stronger. He realizes this man is not normal. He doesn't even need the map. The old man wonders, "Who is he?" Kang replies, "If you want to climb the tower peacefully, you should listen to what I have to say." 4 veterans appeared at the museum, including Kang. The others were the old man, a girl, and an unknown individual. Kang understands they wanted to minimize the risks they would face now that the world had become the Tower of Trials, but he wonders if they are trying to get ahead of him. Given this possibility, he needs to acquire as many unique abilities as he can. He tells the old man, "I will contact you soon." He also asks that he and the girl downstairs level up as soon as possible. This way, he will have some chess pieces to manipulate. However, he still has a long way to go. He will need to gather skills for this journey. Since he only has one body, it will be impossible to acquire all abilities. Even so, he will possess the best and most important ones for himself. Suddenly, he feels he has reached his limit. He is hungry and tired. So, he decides to stop for a meal. He enters a restaurant. On the television, he hears a report. 23 people were eliminated, and 50 were injured at the National Museum of Korea. Many are severely wounded, and the number of eliminated continues to rise. Beyond Korea, similar incidents are occurring in the United States, Europe, and Japan. Just as he had thought, other players worldwide are acting similarly to climb the tower. A journalist first reviews the cameras inside the museum. The cameras show the fight between Anubis and Kang Jin Hyun's mountain tiger. No one can believe the the images, which are unfortunately real. The people in the restaurant cannot believe a regular human could do such a thing. They notice it is the same man who defeated the swamp creature because his movements are identical. Our hero needs to conceal his identity better, as people are recognizing him too much. The government conducts an investigation into the unnamed structure, dubbed the Tower of Trials. For this, they form the Awakened Association, comprising veterans with varied abilities. The government's response in creating this group was faster than the protagonist expected. Since they have already created a group full of awakened individuals with innate abilities, he thinks they will be more flexible. Kang did not expect them to create the group so quickly. On TV, a report from the Department of Awakened Individuals plays. A man in a suit and tie named Sang-jin is the head of the newly formed Awakened Association. He appears to recruit members for the group, promising a salary of 60 million and a government position for new recruits. This offer, however, excludes the person who appeared in the videos. Sang promises that if Kang joins the Awakened, the government will support him in everything he wants. People comment that even without knowing him, they feel envious. Ultimately, our protagonist realizes the report's true objective was him. They are treating him as a tool. No matter what they offer, he will not join them. In this world, the value of a single well-trained individual is greater than 100 ordinary people. Han Sang-jin knows this, which is why he is offering Kang a blank check to persuade him. Sang-jin was chosen as president because he possesses the necessary skills for the position. Or perhaps, it is because he has more experience in the Tower of Trials. Our protagonist hopes Sang-jin has a good ability, as it would be interesting to copy it. Looking at the clock, he knows it is 7 p.m. When the hand points to 9 o'clock, the Tower of Trials will open. This happens when the stated time arrives. All the new players head towards the tower, immediately impressed by the magical scenery. It is just like the Tower of Trials from the game they used to play. Our hero, however, understands that these are all noobs, shocked by something so trivial. As a celebration for entering the tower, everyone receives 100 coins. This currency will be exclusively used within the tower. Players can also upload videos to record their achievements, earning an additional 100 coins for every 10,000 views. However, there will be a premium charge based on the player's status. Every player in the tower who watches these videos will have their first 10,000 views counted. Therefore, they must be careful when deciding which videos to watch. The live stream function, for instance, will only be available once they encounter the boss of the next level. Furthermore, if anyone is found to have manipulated the view counter or engaged in other forms of cheating, that person will be severely punished. There is a connection between people who want to climb the tower and those who live outside it. They can choose to watch players with the best chances of reaching the top, thereby increasing their views. Among all the tower's functions, this is the most interesting, because the more famous a player becomes, the more coins they earn. Meanwhile, players rush to the Goblin Cave to secure a good position and farm coins. They are in a hurry, wanting to complete this as soon as possible to get ahead of others. Earning coins will be easy for Kang Jin-hyuk, as he knows everything about this place. However, he is not interested in uploading videos yet, nor does he want to rely on them to earn coins. After all, sharing the information he possesses would be a great loss and a terrible strategy. During his previous life, while clearing the lower 30 floors of the tower, there was a period when he couldn't advance. Progressing to the next level required him to search for secret pieces on the lower floors. This meant retracing the steps of his previous experiences. Ultimately, he managed to find the solution in an abandoned ruin. It was then that he discovered his character was flawed from the very beginning. The fact that the character he had spent years evolving was trash was painful. Because of this, he considered deleting his character after dedicating so much time to it, only for that to be the outcome. 6 years have passed since that time. Now the protagonist stands in front of a B-level labyrinth. This is the labyrinth created by Daedalus in Crete, famous for its confusing paths and traps. The secret to passing the 30th floor is to build a strong foundation, and the key lies within this very labyrinth. He never thought he would have to go through it again, and this annoys him a bit. Despite his dislike, a sense of nostalgia washes over him the moment he opens the labyrinth's doors. Inside, it reveals a majestic place, filled with valuable and ancient items. There are also luminous blue moths, and one of them lands on his hand. Suddenly, he encounters several unknown people and asks, "Who are you?" A friendly woman replies, "We were looking for a place to farm, and we ended up here." She explains that the labyrinth will close soon. These people followed him 10 minutes before he entered, after noticing something different about him. They realized he went straight to the labyrinth after entering the tower and opened it without a key. The friendly girl then suggests we should enter too and follow him, but the others are unsure if it's it's worth entering the labyrinth, as it could be dangerous. The girl then asks, "Why don't we work together to clear the labyrinth and split the prize?" Kang realizes she is trying to trick him and make him believe in numbers. He suspects she is the leader, so he activates his Eye of Truth to see if the girl is lying or not. At that moment, she states, "My name is Park Hannah. I am 22 years old, and I only reached the second floor of the Tower of Trials before this." Seeing that her name and age are correct, he also notes that she is level 1. He also sees that the girl's skill is quite interesting, communion. Naturally, she can befriend anyone, even strangers. This skill can completely erase feelings of discomfort. The condition to copy this skill, he notes, is to cooperate with her for 240 hours, and to ensure no one else is nearby when those hours conclude. Our protagonist knows the communion skill will be useful for dealing with a villain in the future. Jang Chul-sik introduces himself, stating he quit playing after spending some time on the first floor. Two other girls introduce themselves. They mention reaching the first and third floors respectively. Two other boys state that this is their first time playing the Tower of Trials. Our hero introduces himself amiably as Kang Jin-hyuk. He knows this group will try to attract him later. Therefore, he doesn't even bother memorizing their names. The amiable girl asks if he has played the Tower of Trials before. She then inquires which floor he reached. She places her hand around his arm, activating her communion skill. A feeling of affection for her arises. However, it doesn't work correctly. He realizes this is how she uses it. If he hadn't known it was a skill, he might have fallen for her charms. He responds, "I went as high as I could when I played the game before." Park Hannah finds it strange. The communion skill doesn't seem to have worked on him. She asks him to describe the monsters living in the labyrinth and their specific characteristics. Our hero reveals that this labyrinth changes at fixed time intervals. This surprises everyone. They begin to scream in despair. The girl asks, "Shouldn't this just be a first-floor labyrinth?" Suddenly, a trap activates. Stones begin to strike the walls and move toward the group. One stone comes dangerously close to Park Lee Hannah. She flees at the last instant. Another person from the group warns a novice, "You'll be crushed if you stand still." Eventually, everyone manages to escape. The stones cease their movement. Everyone is desperate. They had thought it would be a simple labyrinth, with nothing special beyond its ruins. Kang Jin asks, "Have you never seen a labyrinth with changing terrain before?" Hannah notes that this place is too dangerous for level 1 players. They must leave as soon as possible. She asks her friend if she can find the exit using her skill. However, the girl replies that her skill was cancelled when the labyrinth began to move. This means they cannot find the exit. They are trapped there. Jin Hyuk had been wondering why they entered the labyrinth with such confidence. They were relying on a navigation skill. The noobs must have thought this labyrinth would be easy. He decides to disregard the idiots for now. After all, something dangerous will appear soon. Park shouts and asks, "Why didn't you tell us about the labyrinth's changes, Kang? About the flying walls?" She is angry because they were injured even while dodging the attacks. They blame him for the attack and accuse him of hiding information. Kang takes a deep breath and asks, "Did I by any chance ask you to follow me?" In a threatening tone, he says, "You followed me of your own accord. I didn't drag anyone by force." One of the boys in the group becomes enraged. He materializes a sword, intending to attack our protagonist. He shouts at Kang, claiming, "I didn't like you from the moment I saw you." Before the boy can finish his sentence, he is sent flying by an extremely powerful blow. The other group members begin to cry, desperate. At that moment, a creature appears in the labyrinth of Crete. It is the Minotaur itself, charging aggressively toward the boys. Its axe, previously embedded in the wall, flies directly into its hand. The Minotaur begins to roar. Park Hannah thinks they will all be eliminated. However, Kang Jin-hyuk orders, "Get out of the way." He then charges toward the labyrinth creature. The others wonder what he is doing. He actually went straight for the Minotaur during its attack. As the monster slams its large axe into the ground, our hero dodges the attack. He jumps, rising to the creature's height as he evades. However, he still takes a cut on his shoulder. In doing so, he obtains the secret evasion attribute. This attribute reduces the level gap when fighting strong opponents. It also widens the gap when fighting weaker ones. This no-gap attribute effectively reduces each level's gap by 3 attribute points when fighting strong enemies. Taking advantage of this newfound ability, he uses the Minotaur's horn to gain momentum. He lands back on the ground, knowing this is how he'll grow stronger, even at level 1. This is the best method he found after countless trials and errors against the Minotaur. The creature with glowing red eyes lunges at our protagonist, full of hatred. He has already endured attacks from this creature tens of thousands of times during his previous plays. Thus, he easily evades, and his gap attribute increases by 0.5. His body has memorized all the patterns, allowing him to widen the gap even further once more. As he dodges all the incoming blows, his gap attribute continues to rise. After all, he is a veteran. He can even evade by jumping over the monster's axe. No matter how powerful an attack is, it's useless if it doesn't hit him. The noobs are in shock, realizing they had thought of messing with him. They know they would have lost. Hannah can't believe they planned to defeat him and the monster just to steal their items. As she looks at the Minotaur, she realizes how crazy her earlier thoughts were. The protagonist states, "The monster is slow and it won't hit me this way." This makes the creature roar and try to attack him again with its gigantic axe. Kang Jin Hyok knows that getting stronger quickly is a simple task. He just needs to put his life in danger, like when he was almost hit by the axe in the neck. The more he does this, the greater the rewards will be. Because he narrowly avoided a fatal attack, his gap attribute level increases by 1. Gaining an attribute point for a few scrapes isn't a bad trade. Still, one wrong move could be dangerous, even fatal. He notices that the group of new players is trying to escape. Park Lee Hannah tries to analyze the walls to find a way out of the labyrinth. Suddenly, our protagonist appears behind her and asks, "Where are you going?" The girl startles, and he tells them that everyone should do the same if they want to increase their attributes. He states that if they dodge attacks, they will receive secret attributes. He says with a tone of irony, "I'm sharing good things with you all." Meanwhile, the Minotaur charges at them, full of hatred, intending to destroy them. Hannah begins to cry in despair as the Minotaur's axe flies and explodes against the wall. The protagonist asks, "Why did you just stand there? You should have ducked, or put some distance between you. That cost one of them their life." Our hero stands still, facing the Minotaur without any fear. Suddenly, he notices the wall's shifting position, and he flees from there. He bids farewell to the Minotaur, who will now be trapped by the labyrinth's walls. The Minotaur becomes enraged by Kang Jin Hyok's strategy. Immediately after, it charges at the labyrinth wall, relentlessly slamming it with its axe. Those who survived are in shock, as they came extremely close to death. They ask if they won, and if that thing will come back for them or not. The protagonist explains that the Minotaur is attracted by the residue from the luminescent moths he touched earlier. Therefore, it will keep coming after them. Hannah asks, "Why are you doing something so insane?" He replies, "I'm doing this to increase my attributes. If you want, you can rest while the labyrinth changes. Then, we will play a bit more with the horned monster until it breaks through everything to get here." Park Hannah asks, "How long do we need to run and dodge the enraged monster's attacks?" Our hero replies, "You need to do this until you escape the labyrinth, about a month from now." The rookies are in shock, realizing they have to remain in this hell for another 30 days. If they are not with him, they won't be attacked by the monster, but they also won't gain experience. Kang Jin then asks, "Which path are you planning to take? After all, it will be dangerous to wander blindly through the labyrinth." The noobs ask if he knows where the exit is. He replies, "I know this labyrinth very well." Hannah understands that this means they won't be able to escape alone without his help. Park Lee Hannah states, "I have no choice," and decides to follow our hero to find the exit. However, Kang states, "Nothing in this world is free. You will pay a price." He points his sword at the girl and tells her, "Give me all your coins." Meanwhile, other novices face goblins in the game. One of them is live streaming, and he is one of the veterans of the Tower of Trials. He has been playing alone for 15 hours, receiving much praise and popularity online. The man with the red headband realizes this is working for him. All the forums are talking about Manhwa because of his brutal battles against the goblins. He thanks his team for their hard work, even though everyone thinks he did it alone. The video was cleverly edited so no one would realize he was buffed. A nasty comment appears, stating that someone completed his dungeon in just 5 hours. Mayon says, "Haters are common," and he is not shaken by it. However, a new video soon enters the Hall of Fame, causing their video's ranking to drop significantly. This person, now in the Hall of Fame, is the first in the world to successfully refine an item to +10. Juan finds this impossible, and our hero's video skyrockets in the rankings. 10 minutes ago, he told the group, "Don't stand still. Do what you need to do." They need to collect moss to make a bed, and wood to light a bonfire. The novices reluctantly obey, while our protagonist opens the market. First, he wants to protect his coins. For this, he buys 3 enchanted tarot cards. He also buys a worn-out bronze key, pieces of a wagon, and 10 refinement scrolls. These are bad items that no one else would buy, yet he completes the purchase. Because the most important thing is how these items are used. Kang Jin decides to combine the 3. The combination is successful, and he creates the Wheel of Fortune, named after the Roman goddess of luck. This is an S-level item that increases his luck for 10 minutes. After the combination, he knows that luck has a limited range. An ordinary person would not realize the usefulness of luck if they don't know its limits. But he knows exactly what those limits are, since he remembers everything from his past life. Using the Wheel of Fortune, his luck increases to its maximum. He knows that the success rate for refining scrolls is very low. They might be spells with the worst refinement chances, but if luck is maximized, the rate is 100%. He decides to use everything on his dagger, and its refinement is successful. Thus, he manages to upgrade his old dagger to +10, which is the maximum level. Additionally, he achieves the bonus accomplishment of being the first to create a +10 refined item on the Korean server. This achievement is recorded in the Hall of Fame for the entire day, and he earns 5,000 coins. Finally, he obtains something truly worthwhile to use, his purple dagger. On the 10th day in the labyrinth, they manage to build a bonfire with the gathered wood and a moss bed, and they have nothing to eat except mushrooms and moss itself. Our protagonist is sleeping peacefully on the moss bed beside the bonfire. However, the group is anything but peaceful, as the Minotaur has been relentlessly attacking since that day. The labyrinth constantly shifts, separating life from death. They are irritated with our hero because he treats everything as if it's nothing significant. If things continue this way, they won't last much longer, and they believe Kang will abandon them. Anonymous users ask, why don't they just give up and stay where they are? They claim that the man with them has played before and is a psychopath. During a live stream, Park asks, does anyone have more information about him? An anonymous person replies, I can't find any related videos from the past. After all his old internet videos have been blocked. When searching for Kang Jin Hyok, it didn't appear that he had created a channel either. They don't think he wants to gain subscribers. He just likes to play alone in an insane way. It would be great if they knew the strategies and locations of the divine relics. Park can't believe they're trying to get support from the idiots outside the tower. He tells them, shut up. Then he asks, what did the Raven Guild say about this situation? An anonymous person reports that the guild is investigating, but has no information about the labyrinth. They will need 3 more weeks to reach them. This news leaves Hannah somewhat desperate, realizing she will be trapped in this labyrinth for 3 more weeks. She tells her friend that there is no information on what to do in this situation. Hannah reveals her plan. Eliminate Kang and take possession of the stone chamber they found until Appa arrives. This way, they could escape the area. However, the problem is eliminating him. At that moment, her friend picks up a stone, declaring it the perfect chance since Jin is sleeping. They decide to do it now, as anyone is eliminated when their head is shattered by a stone. However, Hannah holds her friend's hand, stating that Jin's reaction speed is insane. They will not be able to defeat him in a fight. He will probably wake up the moment they try to attack and launch a counterattack. The man drops the stone, asking, what are we going to do? We cannot continue suffering like this. Hannah assures him they will not continue suffering. Appa, a member of the Raven Guild, gave her something to use. It is a lethal poison capable of melting 100 trolls with just 1 drop, the stinger of a giant zucchini wasp. They must ensure he goes to hell once and for all, so they are no longer in danger. Our protagonist wakes up, saddened to see more moss and mushrooms to eat. As if they were on a survival show, Park Hannah tells him that if he wants more, he can hunt rats to eat. Jin asks her to pass the water behind her and requests more mushrooms. They cannot believe Jin will eat more of the disgusting mushrooms, yet they place them on his plate. He prepares to eat, and Hannah cannot believe they are serving him. Our hero begins to eat his food, and the chat goes wild. The duo rejoices, certain they have put the poison into his food. Suddenly, someone knocks over the plate and begins to spit out the poisoned food. However, this person is not Jin, but Hannah's friend. Within moments, he collapses to the ground, writhing in pain from the potent poison. Jin Hyuk states, you were foolish to think I would eat something poisoned. When I asked for more mushrooms, I switched the plates while your backs were turned. And you should know that secret transmissions are known as cheating. The girl replies, you have no evidence of that. The chat realizes Jin has discovered the live stream. This live function can only be used when attacking the boss that guards the path to the next floor. The system warns that if improper conduct is not detected, the player who made the report will be penalized. Nevertheless, our protagonist decides to proceed with the report, as her facial expressions made the secret live stream obvious. He cannot believe she did this and states, I am disappointed with Park Hannah. As Jin proceeds with the report, the girl begins to receive a warning that leaves her desperate. The capture was complete, and anonymity would be removed. At that moment, the live broadcast became evident, and the chat began to be removed from the stream. The number of viewers drops to 0. They will be unable to watch videos for 1 month from now. If this happens a second time, previous viewers will be permanently banned. The girl becomes desperate as everyone in her chat disappears. As for her penalty, it is a harsh fate. At that very moment, the Minotaur appears, walking with its large axe. It unleashes a heavy roar, then charges furiously like a buffalo. Hannah asks if our hero will fight this time, and pleads with him to tell her where to go. Jin replies, you have no shame. You just decided to poison me and now you ask for my help. The girl continues imploring, but he will not cooperate. Finally, our protagonist fulfills the conditions of spending 240 hours with her to steal her technique. After being alone with her, he manages to copy the communion skill. Looking her up and down, he declares that he does not need her. The girl screams, "You will regret this." Appa is a member of the Raven Guild. The Minotaur delivers a massive blow with its axe, attempting to eliminate the girl. Both Kang and the girl manage to dodge the impact of the blow. Kang wants her to appreciate the sight, to understand that she should fear him. Then, he rushes at the Minotaur with his enhanced technique. He makes a shallow cut on the creature before bouncing off the wall to return to the ground. Kang acknowledges that the damage was minimal, but it was worth reducing the level difference. He knows he won't be able to defeat the creature directly. That is why he needs the Minotaur to suffer similar circumstances. At that moment, the protagonist rushes towards it, dodges an attack, and activates Fire Element Level 1. He launches a powerful burst of flames against the Minotaur. The creature dissipates the wall of fire and begins running towards our hero. However, something causes the great labyrinth creature to falter. It drops to its knees on the ground, completely stopping its movement. If the monster's muscles swell, the meat becomes tough to chew. The protagonist says he is almost winning, but he knows the monster will reveal its secret card. Suddenly, the Minotaur, guardian of the labyrinth, activates Berserk State Level 10. It lets out a great, earth-shaking roar. The Minotaur stands up, roars again, and appears to become much stronger. This leaves Hannah scared, making her question how they can possibly defeat it. Green energy emanates from its horns, and smoke billows from its nostrils. Its attack power and speed increase by 30% for 5 minutes. An additional characteristic, increased intelligence, now allows the Minotaur to speak. The Minotaur declares, "I will destroy your protagonist and scatter his pieces throughout the labyrinth. This way, no one will ever enter my labyrinth again." Kang Jin feels the monster's magic being used more efficiently than before, thanks to its newfound intelligence. He then challenges the Minotaur to a fight. The Minotaur responds affirmatively, "I will crush you." It rushes forward, delivering a blow with its enormous axe. Our protagonist defends it with his max-level dagger. Then, with surprising force, he launches the Minotaur's axe far away and continues to defend against its relentless, non-stop attacks. The fight is extremely fast. Hannah can barely keep up with her eyes. She notices that Kang is not even dodging anymore. He is receiving the attacks head-on. Even though the Minotaur is a boss with a level 10 ability activated, they are fighting on equal footing. Hannah thinks that even the entire Raven Guild would not be able to defeat this creature. Yet Kang is crazy. He is taking every attack head-on and smiling in this dire situation. It is as if he had everything prepared and already knew exactly what to do. Kang thinks to himself. No matter how much he tried to change, he hated the stagnant reality of his old life. He felt as if nothing would change, either in the real world or in games. The difficulty was always the same. However, this new world corresponds to his deepest desires. His level 57 gap ability is one example of this. It made him extremely strong, in addition to his summons and his dagger. His gap attribute continues to increase, especially when he exposes himself to such risky situations. The Minotaur continues its rampage, destroying all the walls of the labyrinth in its rage. Suddenly, the veteran, Kang, leaps towards it with his dagger, delivering several swift cuts. The Minotaur growls, "These are cheap tricks. They will not work against me." It states, "You are just a worm. You cannot even scratch me." However, immediately after saying this, the creature stops, frozen in place, very close to our protagonist. Unable to move, the duration of level 10 Berserk mode ends. Our hero had counted the 5 minutes, knowing that the monster would become completely locked in place afterward. The Berserk state causes someone's attributes to exceed their limit for minutes, but then leaves them utterly powerless. The guardian of the labyrinth enters a state of suspended animation, completely trapped in front of Kang Jin. With 57 gap points, Kang can narrow the power difference by an amount equivalent to 19 levels. He still needs 20 days to reach his ultimate goal of 100 points. Kang knows the Minotaur only stopped moving because its state of fury ended. It will return to the hunt as soon as the labyrinth changes and a new day passes. Our protagonist smiles, stating that there are still 20 days left. He recalls having said it would take a month to clear the labyrinth. 20 days later, the Minotaur returns, attacking with its full strength and in a state of fury. Then a strike comes from the right, and the gap attribute increases. Next, he anticipates a strike from below and jumps. Finally, the gap attribute reaches level 100. The labyrinth monster screams, thoroughly enraged. He feels as though the monster is slowing down over time and delivers a punch to its jaw. Believing he is overthinking, he then steps on the horn of the Minotaur, which is now fallen on the ground. This is his last farewell to the creature. What remains for our protagonist is to deal with Park Hannah. He states, "I will hire an intern for the Veteran Players Company." He asks her if she is interested, noting her lack of enthusiasm. "Aren't you interested? You haven't shown any excitement." Feigning enthusiasm, the girl says, "I want to be hired and work for this company." But first, he asks, "What can you do for the company from now on?" She responds that communion will be an extremely useful skill for managing a company. However, our protagonist says that he has already acquired this skill. She changes her answer, stating, "I will never betray you." This, however, does not satisfy our veteran protagonist, and he is disappointed. He then announces the results for the Veteran Players Company intern position. When the girl asks for more time to think, he tells her, "I have already given you enough time." Desperate, she yells, "I can give you Bram's ring." Kang tells her that he was making a deal with the Chinese to acquire that ring. This piques Kang Jin Hyok's interest upon learning that the Raven Guild possesses this ring. After all, Bram's ring is one of the best items one can obtain on the first floor. It increases movement speed and grants magic resistance, suppressing monsters' magic. The item has 3 useful options, and he verifies her information using the Eye of Truth. Noticing that she is not lying, he also believes she isn't planning anything significant. He congratulates her for being hired as an intern for the Veteran Players Company. He states that he will not pay interns, and no matter where they are, they must come to him when he calls. It will not matter even if it is 3 a.m. Finally, he will clarify the contract's duration. At that moment, our protagonist reads the memories of the world and plans to combine the skills of fire and communion. After combining the 2 skills, Kang states, "It's going to get hot in here." Activating the A-rank Soul Mark skill, the girl realizes that this is a contract. Smiling sinisterly, he says, "I wouldn't put your thumbprint on mere paper." He congratulates her on being hired as an intern and places the soul mark on Park Hannah's face. The girl screams. The mark on the target forces obedience to the commands of whoever placed it on her. Any action that could harm the skill user is forbidden. If she fails to comply, she will be burned. At that moment, they see the light. They are the first to clear the first floor of the labyrinth. The girl is extremely relieved to exit that infernal place. This achievement will be registered in the Hall of Fame, and the players receive 5,000 coins each. As she celebrates her reward, the protagonist orders her, "Transfer the coins to me." She obeys the order and transfers the coins. Kang is certain that no one has more money than him. He also asks her to make sure she brings him the ring in 3 days. When the girl tries to say that 3 days are too few, he reduces it to 2 days. The soul mark on her face heats up, and the girl is forced to obey. On TV, a report airs about Dangun, a guild representing Korea, which is now on the 3rd floor. It is the #1 guild in the country. As other countries face difficulties, expectations for Korea are high. China is keeping their situation a secret. He believes that instead of relying on other countries, they should strive to surpass them with their own strength. He believes he should be able to defeat the 3rd floor boss alone. Our protagonist hears this and contemplates how much others will later regret their actions. He understands their ambition to be the first among challengers, yet perceives no actual need to rush. He knows there is a 90-day time limit on each floor. In other words, there is no need to rush to the 2nd floor, much less the 3rd. Moreover, if one's foundation is poor, the difficulty level increases significantly. The moment a wall is hit, the pressure from the difficulty level will skyrocket. This is especially critical because there is no turning back from humanity's extinction. Therefore, he decides to gather public information this month. In this world, where lies are overwhelming, he needs reliable people to acquire high-quality data. There is a trustworthy source he has used for a long time. He accesses this specific site. He then connects with Big-Headed Bro, whose real name is Lee Taemin, and Punchy Hothead, whose real name is Yoon Yan Hwa. Kang notes that their personalities are quite different from how they were in the game. These are veteran players who were with him in the Tower of Tests 2 years ago. Today marks the first time he has met them in person. He uses his Eyes of Truth ability to check their information. Lee is level 11, with the innate ability King of Machines. Just as Kang thought, Lee also acquired this ability again this time. This innate ability specializes in large-scale battles, with the drawback of consuming a lot of mana. Yoon Yan is level 12, and her innate ability is Taekwondo Devotee, which deals significant damage. Seeing their similar levels, Kang assumes they are hunting together. This makes sense, as they always worked together in the past, too. The condition for Kang to copy their abilities is for all 3 of them to reach the 20th floor together. Kang introduces himself and admits that his in-game name was equivalent to a fart sound. He is ashamed of having chosen that name 11 years ago. He also mentions that he is 26 years old and worked as a streamer on digital platforms, and Lee used to watch his streams. Lee asks Kang to stop being so formal, reminding him that they met many times during the game. He suggests they would feel more comfortable if they talked without all this formality. Kang knows they are very friendly. In the past, there were people who only wanted to use and betray him. Perhaps he had become corrupted by getting involved with such bad people. Even though this is their first personal meeting, he feels very comfortable with both Lee and Yoon Yan. Through their conversation, he manages to discover everything that happened while he was trapped in the labyrinth. This includes the movements of the best guilds around the world and what other streamers were doing. Furthermore, he learns about demonic groups that kidnapped people and stole their coins. Lee then realizes that Kang spent a month in the labyrinth and therefore must not have taken the test. Kang becomes confused about this test. Lee explains that a large number of people went to the tower, and the death toll on the second floor is extremely high. Because of this, the Awakened Association restricted tower climbing only to those who passed a specific test. Upon passing, they would receive an identification code, like the barcode on Yoon Yanhua's wrist. Han Sang-jin, the CEO of the Awakened Association, used the reason of reducing deaths to gather players with innate powers. Since things have come to this point, Kang decides he wants to experience the association system and use it to his advantage. Arriving at the Awakened Association Tower, Kang enters. Players with an F rank or lower are immediately disqualified from entering the second floor. On the other hand, if one receives a high rank, they will get many calls from the nation's best guilds. That is why there are 3 types of people who enter the test site. There are those who simply want to qualify to climb the tower. There are also those who come to judge people's ranks, hoping for a journalistic scoop. Finally, there are those who come to publicly announce their ranks to the world. For example, there is Park Hannah from the Raven Guild, who survived the labyrinth, with Park Hajin beside her. Behind them is Kim Gatai from the Fighting Dads Guild. Everyone immediately starts taking photos of them. Kang gets irritated by the sheer number of people in this place, comparing it to a pigsty. Park Hajin comments, "Many people are dreaming of making money." Kim Gatai then demands, "Get them out of the way." Kim Gatai threatens Park Hajin, telling him to perform well today, as he only came because of Park's brothers. At that moment, the 2 brothers promise to do an excellent job, so as not to disappoint Kim. Their bodyguards begin to clear a path, shouting, "You'll get beaten if you don't move." However, one bodyguard threatens another person who hasn't left the spot. Kang Jin-hyuk asks, "Why would you do that? I took my number and I am waiting for my turn." Park Hajin shoves the bodyguard aside and angrily confronts our protagonist. He declares that he does not know who Kang is and warns him that he is making a mistake and should get out of the way immediately. Everyone watches in shock as our veteran stands against Park Hajin. Kang Jin-hyuk realizes that this is the man Hannah spoke so highly of. He activates his Eyes of Truth ability, checking all the information on this level 8 man. Park Hajin becomes uncomfortable with Kang Jin-hyuk's fixed gaze. Kang discovers the condition for copying his abilities. To copy his innate ability, he must increase his friendship with the target. If he becomes hostile, he can copy any of his common abilities as desired. Upon learning that he can maximize hostility, our hero becomes very interested. Park Hajin continues to threaten Kang Jin-hyuk, demanding he move out of the way, while Hannah watches him in shock. Kang gives a wicked grin in Hannah's direction, making her break into a cold sweat. Suddenly, our protagonist grabs 2 of Hannah's brother's fingers and maliciously breaks them. Her brother screams in pain. This enrages Hannah's brother, who then prepares to attack our hero. All the journalists at the scene move back to avoid being hit by the impending attack. Our protagonist observes them, then grabs his water bottle and throws it at Park Hajin. Park Hajin slashes the bottle. As he attempts to lunge at our protagonist, he is suddenly struck and falls to the ground. No one understands what happened. They believe he simply tripped and fell on his own. However, Hannah knows Kang Jin-hyuk and understands that it was a direct attack from him. Kim Gitai of the Fighting Dads Guild appears to put an end to the fight. Immediately, our hero activates his Eyes of Truth. The ability fails to activate due to a significant level difference. This means that Kim must be level 20 or even higher. Kim Gitai then states that the young man is problematic, but he has no choice but to work with him, as he is useful in some way. Kang Jin-hyuk asks if he is useful because he is sending Goryo Ginseng. The man asks, "How do you know that?" and is visibly shocked. Our hero replies that the how does not matter and requests more practical questions. For example, how to deal with the side effects of Goryo Ginseng. Kim Gitai activates a black screen barrier ability around the 2 of them. Kang's friends try to enter to get closer to him, but they do not make it in time. Kim wants to know the veracity of Kang's information, specifically his desire for exclusive rights over 10 dungeons. Goryo Ginseng is known as an incredible consumable item that restores health and magic. However, eating it raw can cause a poisoning effect. Kang is certain that they are experiencing difficulties due to this side effect, and states that they need 3 items to solve this problem. These items are Carassian Bile, Moonstone, and Mandrake Root. He does not know about the other items, but he is sure that they have difficulty finding the Mandrake Root. Kang then offers to tell Kim where these items are located and asks for Kim's trust. Kim realizes that Kang's information is consistent with the data obtained by his explorers. This makes him question even more who this man in front of him truly is. He decides to believe Kang Jin Hyuk, but points a dagger in his direction. He warns Kang, "Do not try to use any tricks. I will notice, and I will ignore them all." Even so, asking for 10 of the best dungeons, which the guild has monopolized, is a high price to pay. Therefore, he decides to place a limit on their contract. However, our protagonist states that Kim is not understanding, and his eyes begin to glow. After all, he is the one making the proposal and offering the opportunity, not Kim Gitai. Suddenly, a woman shatters the barrier and throws a man far away. The girl warns everyone, "Step back if you don't want to be eliminated." Because of her, the black screen barrier ability is being deactivated. Our hero tells Manhua to calm down as he steps away from Kim. Concerned, they ask if he was dragged away. They demand to know what just happened. They assume he is surprisingly easy to talk to and convince. Indignant, Park Ha-jin confronts the man. "Are you really going to let us leave unharmed so easily?" He pleads for another chance, to use his powers and reverse the situation. Kim chokes the boy and warns him, "This man is not weak. You cannot face him." Kim adds, "You will regret it if you act so imprudently next time." The boy almost faints. Immediately after, the man releases him. He wonders what exactly happened inside the barrier that made Kim humiliate him like that. Filled with rage, he plans to eliminate the man. Meanwhile, the Prota meets the conditions to copy Park's D-level light breath skill. This skill grants him passive mobility, allowing him to control his breathing and heart rate. The skill is saved in the world's memories after our protagonist provokes Ha-jin. He knows it is time to take the test and discover his true ranking. He wonders if his intern took the test after eating wild ginseng, because she achieved first place in the rankings. The test is simple. He only needs to hit the magic crystal in front of him using items or skills. The essential part is the amount of potential that hits the crystal, as this will measure his strength. She asks if he will use the weapon without innate skills. Kang affirms, "My dagger is sufficient." The man tells him he can start whenever he feels ready. Meanwhile, Jin walks over to a different crystal. They warn him that it's a medium-level crystal. They ask him to try a lower-level item instead. He is told, "It is impossible for medium-level crystals to react normally." The veteran player doesn't care. He activates his gap attribute to its maximum level. Immense energy begins to circulate through his body. He wants to see just how strong he has become after emerging from the labyrinth. He unleashes a strike with his dagger, using every ounce of strength he possesses against the crystal. This leaves the man in complete shock. Most people don't even have enough power to scratch the crystal. He had never seen anyone with enough strength to split the crystal in half before. Kang Jin Hyuk is immediately ranked as an S-level magic power player. In shock, the man decides to inform his supervisors about this event. However, our Prota asks him to delay this report for 1 week. For a personal reason, he wants this information to be revealed to others only a week from now. Kang states a lesson he learned in life. Sometimes threats work better than the law. He then asks why Hannah arrived there, completely unnoticed. She brings him the item he requested. Our hero retrieves Bram's ring, an A-level item that grants the supreme magical power of monsters. He activates the mark and states, "The 2 days I gave you were more than enough time." He adds, "I will only remove the soul mark if you behave very, very well." His friends ask if he got an F rank. They were so sure he would be ranked above them. He explains, "It's just a temporary ranking. I'll take the test again after 1 week." Obviously, the Prota is lying. The second test is in a dungeon, and he plans to look for specific items before taking it. He tells them not to worry about him. They should continue climbing the tower, and he will contact them later. The first test measures a person's magic power and assigns a rank. Those who pass move on to the second test. The instruction is simple. All they need to do is complete the dungeon within the test tower. Since there is no difficulty limit, most people choose goblin and orc dungeons. However, the place he is heading to is a ruin that only exists on the first floor. It is a forbidden zone. It has never been conquered before, despite appearing in the test tower 11 years ago. Now, in his new reality, it will be the same. It has been a very long time since he last visited this dungeon. This is the Chamber of the Fallen, a place with floating stones. However, someone else is with him, testing his patience. They are located in the mountain ruins, on the first floor of the test tower. As an F rank, he cannot enter the ruins alone. The regulating guild would not permit it. So, his only option is to register as a porter, carrying boxes on his back to gain entry. A man asks Kang what brings him to this place. Kang replies, "I need money. I live alone." The friendly man says, "I'm here to help my wife and children." Our hero knows that men like him are usually the first to die. This porter warns, F ranks need to be careful. Any mistake could mean the end. Ambulances cannot save them. Jin affirms, "The people here will all make it back home." The man doesn't quite understand, yet he thanks him for saying that. He is much more enthusiastic compared to the others. The ruins of the Chamber of the Fallen will now begin. This raid is S difficulty. They must defeat the area's boss and claim the throne of the ruins. The reward will be a divine relic. However, if they fail to defeat the boss, the selection of relics will be limited. Meanwhile, the box porters arrive at a resting spot. A brief pause before the raid begins. The bonus for the first to conquer the tower has arrived. It consists of special items. This bonus is opened, granting an additional 10 points in luck and adaptability. The Cold Heart skill is activated. It allows the user to maintain composure, even in stressful situations. In addition, the passive skill Monopolize is also activated. This skill accumulates the last given reward and can enhance all presented rewards. This excites our protagonist. These are excellent skills. He finds it incredible when he manages to choose a great reward from the thousands presented in the test tower. But now, that probability will mean nothing to him, not after acquiring these new abilities. Suddenly, a group of men emerges from a portal. One of them says, "My head just can't get used to this, no matter how many times I do it." The porters realize that this is the main attack unit of the Balhae Guild. Using his Eye of Truth skill, he wants to analyze the man who appears to be their captain. This man organizes the ranks as he walks, ensuring they follow the advance group. His name is Song Chunhwa, level 14, 29 years old, with very high attributes. The condition to copy his skill is to earn his loyalty during this raid. This makes our veteran apprehensive. Earning his loyalty will be difficult. For the attack captain of one of the top 10 guilds in the country, Kang finds this condition strange. He thinks this is fine, as long as he is not late for his duty. The guild's mage states, "From here on it will be dark. Stay close to me. No one can be rescued." The level 1 illumination skill is activated by his magic staff. It illuminates the entire area of these enormous ruins. The group notices that the monsters the advance party faced were completely annihilated. Furthermore, the atmosphere within these ruins is quite mysterious and unsettling. They inform Chunhwa Hyung that the group of porters is present and that they should follow the guild. Our protagonist finds it strange that there were no fatalities after a fight with so many monsters. This should have been impossible, given the attack power he witnessed from this guild before. A man from his group tells him, "Don't just stand there, deliver their water and ice." He is a forgotten porter, and he must attend to the foreigners. The foreigners wear distinct armor, featuring a cross symbol on their shoulder pads. He had been wondering where they were from, but then he remembers. They are the European elite, the Zion Guild. Kang notices a very short person among them and considers befriending this group. As he brings them the water and ice, he begins to strike up a conversation. Activating his communion skill, the target immediately forms a positive impression of him. The short knight is revealed to be a very beautiful woman. Our protagonist recognizes her as the youngest daughter of Europe's aristocratic Laurentia family. She is a versatile player. She possesses divine power, allowing her to attack, defend, and use healing abilities. She is a heroine from Amsterdam, a city that was almost devastated by an outbreak. As one of Europe's most famous players, she is known as the Saint of Amsterdam, Teresa de Laurentia. Now he understood why no one in their group had died. It was due to her presence. Everyone wants to climb the tower, but unexpectedly they chose the ruins instead of the third-floor boss. His Truth Eye skill activates, but it fails. The level difference between them is too significant. He cannot believe there is such a huge difference between them. The girl has likely surpassed level 20. However, his luck and adaptability attributes suddenly neutralize the level difference. Because of this, Truth Eye reaches level 2 and activates successfully. He can now view the target status window. Teresa de Laurentia is 22 years old and level 29. She boasts impressive attributes and ranks among the top 100 players. Therefore, the condition to copy all her abilities is to save her life in a dangerous situation. He is not surprised that people are going crazy over her, as her attributes are truly impressive. He notices she has an active class quest. This explains why she gave up fighting the boss and came to the ruins instead. The girl thanks him. Our protagonist says, "I should be the one thanking you for your presence." He is grateful. He has received an opportunity to gain an innate ability, the strongest among paladins. This ability is called Blessing of the Stars. The only problem now is creating a situation where she is in danger and then saving her from it. This is definitely not an easy condition to fulfill. Suddenly, shouts erupt. They are screaming the guild captain's name as if someone is in immediate danger. They tell Hyung that they are in serious trouble. This is due to the Guardian Sentinel. The system announces, "The Guardian of the Ruins has spotted the intruders and initiated an attack. You have 10 minutes remaining." The Ruins security system activates a bomb whenever it receives an external stimulus. After this stimulus, it invokes the Sentinel. They suspect some idiot must have triggered it. However, they don't want to complain. The creature has already awakened, and they only have 10 minutes left. It would be foolish to fight the Guardian with their current attack power. power. They would only end up losing. He decides to evacuate the non-combatants within the next 10 minutes, but he quickly changes his mind. He cannot think of the end if they haven't even started to fight. Hyung becomes very confused. He knows how difficult it was to become captain. Because of this, he does not want everything to end this way. He decides to press onward, deeper into the ruins. People think he is crazy, especially since the reinforcement group hasn't even arrived. They warn that the Guardian will appear from all sides. He commands them to follow him, reminding them that he is responsible for the guild. They can do this even without the reinforcement group, as they have Saint Teresa by their side. Other knights arrive, warning that the Guardians have awakened. However, they say not to worry. A giant guild like Balhae would not proceed without a plan already in place. A man states, "You should listen to the captain. By now, they have surely defeated the Guardians." However, immediately behind him, a large sentinel appears. It utterly destroys him, crushing him as if he were nothing. Other warriors stand before the sentinel knights, completely terrified. They prepare for a difficult battle, facing multiple sentinel guardians at once. The front attack team warns, "The Guardians have arrived. Prepare for battle." The captain orders, "Tanks to the front. Carriers stay behind." Everyone begins to obey. He commands them to cast buffs on the tanks to increase their damage output. Song Chunhwa activates his Iron Shield skill, level 3. Additionally, he uses the Wedge Formation, level 2, positioning all shield bearers at the front. Lee activates his Warrior's Song skill, level 2, increasing the strength of those on the front lines. They maintain their formation and charge towards the sentinels. A very difficult battle ensues. Numerous shield bearers advance with their buffs, attempting to defeat the sentinels. However, they warn the captain, "We need tanks on our side. Otherwise, we will not resist." They also request a healer. Solo players are beginning to fall. The captain knew there would be casualties, but he couldn't do anything at that point. He didn't have the energy to worry about mere solo players, focusing instead on helping guild members with their systematic tactics. Meanwhile, the solo players lacked the skill to deal with groups, and they were spotted by the sentinels. They felt abandoned, and eventually they would perish if no one saved them. However, the level 4 cross sign skill was activated by Saint Teresa, who came to save the solo players. She defeated several sentinels at once, saving their lives. She noticed that 2 guardians had bypassed the attack team, and the non-combatants were now in danger. Because of this, she quickly began heading back to the hall to save the porters. Back at the supply station, the porter had not been protected and was gravely wounded. He felt he was about to perish, as a sentinel prepared an axe attack against him. However, this sentinel was cut into several pieces and defeated by our protagonist. He recalled the old man, to whom he had promised they would all get out alive. With no time to celebrate, the porter warned him that another guardian was right behind him. With quick reflexes, our hero dodged, then activated a fire skill. A huge smile spread across his face as he prepared to incinerate the giant knight. In just one attack, he brought down the monster and waited for someone to finish it off. He needed to maintain his level 1 status and thus did not want to eliminate this guardian himself. He couldn't believe they had awakened the guardians of a brutal ruin and saw no benefit in doing so. He wondered who had done this. At that moment, Saint Teresa arrived to save the porter. She had thought he was a good person until she saw him threatening a non-combatant with a knife. She asserted that it was Kang Jin Hyok who had awakened the guardians and declared she would arrest him immediately. Confused, he received a sword attack from Saint Teresa. She pleaded, "Don't resist. I don't want to hurt you." He tried to explain, saying it was a misunderstanding, but she refused to listen to his excuses now. She continued attacking him with her weapons. Seeing that it had come to this, he retaliated. He pushed the woman against the stone wall, lightly injuring her. Pointing his max-level dagger, he affirmed that he was not the one who had awakened the sentinels. After all, if he had done it, he would have eliminated her instantly. The porter asked, "Why are you two fighting? Kang saved my life." When Teresa heard this, she repeatedly apologized for the misunderstanding. Our protagonist understood her, saying, "Anyone could have misunderstood the situation." She then asked, "Why did you hide your identity from me?" Jin Hyok replied, "It's for the same reason you are. I'm on a secret class mission. I'm trying to obtain St. Peter's written oath, and I'm using the Zion Guild as a smokescreen. I'm also looking for a secret item." She then wondered how he knew all of this. He also asserted, "I want to know all the tactics of this ruin, and I believe it will depend on your skill. So can we proceed together on this journey?" Meanwhile, the guild captain stated that they needed to gather their forces to move forward. He told Teresa, "There's no reason to move independently." She responded, "You have a map of the ruins up to the checkpoint, and you should be accustomed to the strategy. Besides, our contract states that each team will be commanded and move independently from one another." Receiving this strong argument, the captain was left speechless. Finally, he accepted, saying, "You need to regroup with us before we reach the edge of the map." Saint Teresa replied, "I will find you. I will." She then asked, "Can I take a porter to help?" Captain Hyung agreed, as long as she promised to return. The other porters knew she was embarking on a hellish journey, and none of them wanted to be chosen. However, our hero raised his hand to be chosen, saying, "I'll go with you." The porters in the group told the young man, "You shouldn't do it. It's too dangerous." But he knew he wouldn't get anywhere with this atmosphere. Because of this, he asks if they never burned with desire when they were young, just like him. With sudden force, he shouts that this is the moment where he will fight for love, even if it costs him his life. The porters are moved, and they finally understand the young man's desire. They end up supporting him on the independent journey he will take with Saint Teresa. They encounter several undead creatures in the area. St. Peter's written oath rests on a sarcophagus in the middle of these undead. Kang asks if she knows that they must get rid of the barrier around the sarcophagus, and she confirms that she does. Suddenly, they receive a warning. It states that the owner of the Chamber of the Fallen is watching them. This is an indirect message from the boss, who had never shown any attention to players before. The saint asks if he saw the message, and she believes it was sent by the boss himself. However, she does not understand what he meant by watching them, and she thinks that perhaps he recognized her. Surprising her with his confidence, our protagonist states that he was the one recognized. Teresa then asks about the strategies for this place, which he had mentioned knowing. The paladin leaps into the midst of the undead horde and activates her warrior's song ability. All of her attributes will increase by 3 for 10 minutes. She is following the simple strategy Kang outlined, which is to attract the creature's attention. They all brutally rush towards her the moment she unleashes her divine power. They enter a state of chaos. She activates a light and begins to attack them non-stop. While she attacks, the veteran steps over them, trampling their heads. Teresa has drawn the attention of everyone. The fact that she is handling the monsters reduces Kang's chance of leveling up. Suddenly, a red lightning bolt strikes the middle of them, surprising both of them. Lich, the skeleton in black robes with a red staff, launched this magic into their midst. Next, a sentry tries to attack our protagonist, who dodges like he is in the Matrix. He realizes that there shouldn't be any headless knights here. He wonders why the pattern has changed. He thinks he must take external variables into account next time. The elite Lich's Black Thunder can be used to deal with headless knights, and it is dangerous enough to end the life of a veteran player, just like him. Again, the Lich prepares its black lightning bolts, surrounded by a red aura. Our hero was already prepared and remained calm as he dodged. This causes the lightning to hit the Class 3 barrier, which is shattered by his ability. Thus, the magical barrier's ability is destroyed, releasing the sarcophagus. Kang Jin Hyok takes his dagger and easily shatters the sentry. He asks, "What will the monster do now?" After all, Teresa is also wiping out almost all the undead on her side. Only the elite Lich remains. It receives a cut and is instantly defeated. A person then calmly steps on its skull and crushes it. The protagonist knows there is only one person who can move and predict monster movements like that. This person says that they knew Kang Jin would be in this place. They point a sword in his direction and say that it has been a long time since they last met. They ask, "Don't you recognize me?" At that moment, Kang activates his Eyes of Truth, which are not nullified by level differences. He is then able to see the target's status window. He discovers that his name is Choi Yu-sung. He is 28 years old and level 29. The condition to copy his ability is to defeat him with a sword, which is the weapon he trusts most. Choi possesses an iron sword with Chen Long engraved on it, which was stolen from the National Museum of Korea. Back when the game was virtual, there was a person who, after losing to him twice, continued to challenge him, no matter the place or what they were doing. He followed an extreme warrior concept. Kang asks, "Are you that psychopathic stalker from back then?" The man becomes annoyed because he wasn't recognized now that the game has become reality. Our protagonist remembers, but he doesn't want to believe that the person from the museum was him. However, after losing to him many times in the virtual game, he asserts that things will be different now. He declares that since both of them have returned to the beginning, he will no longer be defeated by him. Kang says he will not stop him if he truly wants to fight. He asks if the stalker is sure he will be alright, as his companion will not simply stand by and watch. When the stalker sees the saintess, he realizes that Kang has an annoying companion, but he declares he will not allow anyone to interfere in their duel. Thus, Choi Yu-sung activates his battlefield selection skill. By striking his sword hard against the ground, he creates a battle arena for the two to fight. Our protagonist tells Saint Teresa that he will find her after this duel. She remains without reaction, as our protagonist is transported into the combat arena. Upon arriving at the location, the stalker says, "Nobody will disturb us here." Then he challenges our protagonist. Choi Yu-sung activates his level 5 man-to-man skill, which increases his attributes. Meanwhile, Kang Jin-hyuk's attributes decrease by 10%. His attributes are diminished due to the combined effects of the battlefield and man-to-man skills. This has created a disadvantageous combination for him. Because an extremely disadvantageous situation is detected, a special fusion condition is activated. When a situation is disadvantageous for original copy conditions, they are modified accordingly. Thus, the skill copy is approved even before the conditions are fully met. Our protagonist decides to copy Choi Yu-sung's unique skill, the level S Song of Swords skill. This skill increases his understanding of swords by 200% and makes his attacks more efficient. Subsequently, the copied skill is registered in Kang Jin-hyuk's world memories. Irritated, the stalker says, "I am being ignored again." He then charges at Kang Jin-hyuk with hatred. Jin materializes his dagger, and they begin an equal-footed sword combat. Kang asks, "What are you planning? What happened to your mid-range fighting style?" He adds, "After all, you have started fighting with swordsmanship now, and you seem to be enjoying it." Extremely irritated, the stalker says, "You were always ignoring me until the very end." He then uses the soul-catching sword energy. Attacking with full force, he unleashes various attacks against our protagonist. Our protagonist says, "You are trying too hard." Using sword energy against a beginner swordsman, he dodges all of the attacks. This irritates the stalker, as he is being called a beginner, even though he is not. Kang realizes his blade will break if he faces the sword energy with it. So, he decides to create a skill that can directly counter sword energy. Thus, he fuses the Song of Swords with the demonic soul pill. As he runs the pill along the blade of his dagger, the fusion skill is activated. In this way, the Song of Swords and the demonic soul pill item are fused. A great radiance emanates from his area, forming the unique skill, level SS Sword Tomb. This skill increases his understanding of swords by 500%. Additionally, his body will now follow the most efficient path in combat. The skill is activated along with level 1 Black Moon Knight. This power is not even 1/10 of his original strength. Even his current magical power is not enough to control it. He knows he must increase it further to reach his past strength. The stalker is in shock, witnessing the amount of strength Kang now possesses. The stalker is in a battlefield optimized for him, and his opponent is not even using techniques from his own specialty. Everything should be in the stalker's favor. Yet Kang Jin dominates the combat. Emitting a vast amount of aura, Kang strikes with his dagger. The enemy defends the blow, but Kang's target begins to sink into the ground from the sheer force. Moreover, Kang makes his enemy's sword fly out of his hand. He declares, "I have defeated you again." This marks the 138th time Kang has won. When the stalker asks to be eliminated, our protagonist says, "The next duel will be the 139th time." He continues, "You must know that the tower is not something to mock. Rankers are eliminated when they let down their guard. That is why we need as many strong players as possible, especially if they are like you." He extends his hand. In reality, he needs 60 days to buy another skill from the same person. This way, he will not have to find him again to copy his abilities. Since the opponent cannot wait to deliver his skills, he activates the communion. The enemy says, "This time, I lost." He then affirms that next time, the outcome will be different. The battlefield selection skill is deactivated. Now that he thinks about it, he does not even know his enemy's real name. Kang affirms that they do not have an intimate relationship for such a thing, yet he still wants to know the protagonist's name. Our hero does not want the enemy to speak his original in-game name. Contradicting this request, Kang speaks his old name, Fart. Suddenly, the protagonist asks Chunhwa Hyung if they have already dealt with the monsters in the area. The mage replies that his detection skill is reacting to magic. He thought he had already dealt with all the monsters. He adds that an unknown being is coming toward them. Suddenly, he looks up and sees a giant iron golem approaching. He looks up further and finds a white-haired man with pointed ears riding on top of it. Seeing this appearance, the team captain knows it is a high-ranking vampire. The vampire introduces himself as Velis. He is very elegant and welcomes the humans. "I am a blood relative who serves Jinzo, the master of the ruins." The captain points a sword at Velis's neck and asks what his objective is. The vampire then realizes the captain is the leader and states he has come to bring them a proposition. It is, in fact, a choice. Come with me in silence or face a brutal fight. Velis activates his blood feast skill, which begins to manipulate all the tomato sauce in the area. The ketchup from people's bodies starts to seep out. Thus, all the group members begin to lose all the sauce they had in their bodies. Half of them will become appetizers, while the others are dragged dragged away. This ability leaves Hyung completely terrified, seeing his men dying. Meanwhile, on the journey of the paladin and our protagonist, she activates her level 5 divine purification skill. She takes the SSS ranked frozen tier, and her magical power increases as it is absorbed. After consuming the item, her magical power increases by 12. The frozen tier was obtained along with the demonic soul stone, and it is very difficult to acquire. With the help of the divine power, her attribute was already at 12, now adding another 12. The protagonist is happy with this amount. Suddenly, the Master of the Fallen Chamber sends them an invitation. The invitation states, if you wish to save the attack team, you must go to the inner hall and find the Master. If they accept this mission, all monsters and traps leading to the final room will be removed. Teresa believes that the people from the attack team have been kidnapped and turned into hostages. Without thinking twice, she says, I will go. There is no reason to hesitate even if I only save one person. However, she wonders if she will be able to defeat Jinzo this way. She also questions what will happen if she becomes a toy for Jinzo, exactly as Jinzo wants. She cannot imagine a fight against her without the support of the attack team. All she wanted was to protect another person as a paladin, and she wonders if she made the wrong decision. Her new companion says, there is nothing to do with the attack team. I will go ahead. He adds that if she is having difficulty making a decision, she can listen to his advice. He says, Jin has no sense of honor and is a selfish human. That is why I continue to challenge her. Even so, I am certain that in this world, I am the only person who can defeat Jinzo. He apologizes for speaking too much, and the paladin thanks him for the advice. Teresa then offers to put our protagonist in a group. Our hero states, my contract fee is not cheap. He asks if she wants to proceed with it. She promises, I will give you all the coins I possess if you help me in the fight against the Chamber Master. Hearing this, he realizes the girl wants to proceed, and he accepts the contract. After closing the contract and accepting Jinzo's mission, the monsters fall dormant, and they proceed to the final hall. The amount of magical energy being emitted is extremely high. Upon realizing this, Kang asks Teresa not to be afraid, and questions if she knows the opponent's strength. In battles, the strongest doesn't always win. Kang Jin Hyuk then states that he has a plan. No matter what happens inside, she needs to trust him. With that, they finally open the gate to the last room. Inside, they find numerous people in a throne. Beside the throne stands the white-haired vampire, Velis. Lying on the throne, relieved they have finally arrived, is Jinzo Alice von Ataraxia. She announces, I was tired of waiting for you. Our protagonist asks if the people are safe. She replies, I will show you with your own eyes. With that, she deactivates her dimensional breaking ability, revealing the people held hostage. Our protagonist notices that even Park Ha-jin is tied up, blindfolded and gagged. He now feels certain that this idiot was the one who awakened the Guardians. Jinzo explains that the reason she invited them is because of the scent Kang emits. It's the sweetest scent I have ever smelled, even sweeter than his tomato sauce. Kang's sweet aroma cannot be compared to any other humans, and it's stimulating me. Kang reflects that no one has ever told him his red blood cells are sweet before. He says he is clearly uncomfortable after all. A vampire is eyeing his life force. Jinzo declares, I am the type who savors things. I will allow you to live for at least 60 years. Kang understands this means he would have to spend his entire life by her side with a straw in his neck. As he thinks this, she hurls a projectile in his direction, which shatters the wall beside him. He replies, I appreciate your goodwill, but I have no intention of spending the rest of my life with you. This comment visibly irritates the vampire. She retorts, your words mean nothing when it comes to this matter. The paladin asks if he is all right. Our protagonist replies that he is fine, as he wasn't hit. He then adds, this vampire is fierce, but I promised her nothing. The only thing I will give her is something sweeter than my own blood. She scoffs, your attempts are useless. Nothing is more important than your tomato sauce. I will not change my mind, no matter what you offer. Our protagonist then offers a surprising deal. I offer you freedom. The surrounding vampires become infuriated. They ask, how dare you utter that word in this place? However, Jinzo silences their shouts. She tells Kang, you will take responsibility for what you just said. Kang replies, if I couldn't do it, I wouldn't have come to you in the first place. As she demands he take responsibility, Kang Jin Hyuk introduces himself. As the representative of the demonic humans in the tower, I will liberate this place. As he speaks, our protagonist puts a black mask on his face. Demonic humans is the term for those who have rejected their humanity. This can be for money, revenge, or even personal beliefs. Demonic humans often prevent players from climbing the tower and sometimes even join forces with monsters. The vampire admits, I have heard of this type of human. Are you one of them? Kang replies, I have already been in contact with the temple on the 27th floor, and the fact that you deceived the barrier surrounding these ruins is exactly what they told me. The paladin wonders how he is pretending to be a demonic human and how he plans to resolve this situation. She also wonders what the temple is to have made them so frightened. Kang tells Jinzo, if you know of the temple, then you'll realize my words are not a bluff. Please trust me. However, the vampire declares, I will not. It doesn't matter if you're a demonic human or not. Anyone can claim they'll resolve my condition. Besides, you're too good with words. I don't trust you because of that. With that, she activates her blood spears ability and states, it's a pity I have to eliminate you. Your blood is so sweet. She then fiercely hurls the spears in his direction. Our protagonist, who was respectfully bowed, did not react at first. Then, Paladin Teresa stepped in front of him and used sacred reinforcement. A large cross-shaped shield of light appeared, protecting him from the attack. The spears stopped at the barrier, unable to pierce it. Meanwhile, Saint Teresa told him to stay behind her for protection. I will resist as much as I can with my divine power. She even reinforced her sacred shield ability and flung the spears away. The vampire spoke. It's funny that you have to give your all against something so weak. She added that she hated divine power, as it caused her nausea. Suddenly, Jinzo activated the blood explosion ability. She declared, I will destroy the paladin. The paladin, meanwhile, wondered how much longer she could endure. Despite this, she trusted Jin Hyuk, who was behind her, to do something. But then, to her shock, he surprisingly used his dagger against Saint Teresa. He pierced her chest with his weapon, startling her. The girl, and even the vampire, did not understand why he did this. He then spoke to Jinzo. If I can prove that this isn't just a bluff, can Jinzo trust me? Jinzo found this amusing, as he had betrayed the companion who protected him. Still, she demanded more proof. The paladin managed to speak. We decided to save the strike force together, and you had a plan. Was this always your plan? Without a word, he cruelly finished off Paladin Saint Teresa, leaving her shield stained with what appeared to be tomato sauce. The vampire laughed, finding the human's actions impressive, and gave him a chance to speak. Our protagonist claimed, I have a 7-star spell to bypass the barrier that traps you. He picked up Bram's ring. I can seal your soul within this item, and the barrier will be deceived. It was the first time she had ever heard of sealing a soul inside an item. Our protagonist then revealed the reason he kept his status at level 1. He even gave up experience points he could have gained in the testing tower. The 7-star ability, Soul Transfer, was the reason Kang did this. After all, it could not be used unless the user was at level 1. The user's level condition was met, and the 7-star Soul Transfer ability activated. A magic circle appeared. Its activation cooldown was 1 year, and it could only hold 1 soul. He received a notification. The spell would conclude once he obtained the target's consent. The magic circle would disappear permanently after 1 minute, and the magic would only activate when she accepted. He looked at the vampire Jinzo. What will you do, vampire Jinzo? Will you accept my proposal or not? The other vampires were shocked to see that this spell could be used in such a way. Jinzo, meanwhile, told Valis via telepathy, if Kang tries anything, eliminate him. He is not trustworthy. She herself didn't feel comfortable consenting to a spell she'd never heard of. Even so, protective measures had been taken, and she had been confined for far too long. 1,000 years had passed since she was exiled to this place. If not now, she would never escape this underground palace. She asked one last time if she could trust our protagonist, and extended her hand to him. Kang replied, if you grant me this honor, I will not let Jinzo regret it. Jin Hyuk then activated the communion ability, and the target developed a favorable impression of him. She allowed the soul transfer. Bram's ring would absorb the soul of the progenitor, Alice. The ritual began within the magic circle, and her soul entered the ring. As it concluded, she realized it was not as bad as she imagined, and actually quite comfortable. Our hero picked up the ring. I'm happy you're enjoying your new home, Jinzo questioned. What did he just say about a new home? Suddenly, the unique ability, Star's Blessing, activated. It was revealed that the paladin was still alive, and she began to stand up. He then removed his mask and welcomed Teresa back. The blessing revives a person once, provided their death wasn't instantaneous. This brings the paladin back to life with a smile, as if they had planned this all along. Our hero realizes he no longer needs the mask. Simultaneously, the female vampire sealed inside the ring begins to curse at him. The female vampire then orders Velis to attack our protagonist. Velis immediately materializes his sword, preparing for combat. Teresa instructs them, guard Jinzo, as we have many questions to ask him. Since not everything has been resolved yet, they prepare for combat against the vampires. Velis proclaims, you won't leave here alive after betraying our master. He then activates his skill, Blood Wave. A tide of vital bodily fluid rushes towards the two of them. Meanwhile, our hero activates his level 5 fire element skill. He slams a powerful torrent of fire against the ground, dispelling the vampire's magic and completely destroying the spell. He then instructs Teresa, recover the hostages. Teresa activates her skill, Sign of the Cross, to save Hyung and the attack team. The captain is happy that Saint Teresa came to rescue them and asks, what's the situation with the vampires? She replies, Kang is handling them alone. Then the vampire asks, how can a mere human resist my powers? Our hero comments that fire magic is the opposite of his his own. He adds that they are forgetting one crucial detail, stating, "The moment your master was sealed in the ring, you lost." He then activates his unique skill, Tomb of Swords, along with his mask and a materialized dagger. Velis activates the Dark Battle Spirit. Since magic isn't working, he proclaims, "I will defeat you with my sword. I will destroy the ring and free our master." After his declaration, all the furious vampires charge at our protagonist. Meanwhile, the captain is shocked to learn that he is fighting alone. He asks, "Who is he?" Teresa knows that if he is wearing a mask, it's because he doesn't want his identity revealed. During this time, our hero easily defeated all the vampires. She then says, "I met him by chance, and I don't know much about him." She adds, "The stab wound hurt. I never imagined my first death would be at the hands of an ally. Despite everything, they managed to win, and it was worth it in the end." Saint Teresa begins to cry, thanking Kang Jin-hyuk for the group's survival and for saving the life of Teresa, the wielder of the unique skill Star's Blessing. He meets the conditions and manages to copy her unique blessing skill. The SS level skill, which allows him to return from death, is now stored in his memories. He asks, "Why are you crying?" The paladin replies, "I can't control myself right now." She then asks if he knew she could revive. Our hero knew, as he had seen her skills. However, he pretends not to know and says, "I'm just happy you're alive." They decide to retrieve the divine artifacts from the ruins at once. However, the captain arrives and states, "The items from this raid are under my guild's possession." Kang replies that he saved their lives, finding it unfair that they still want the reward. "I saved your lives. It's unfair that you still want the reward." Song says, "Actually, I'll give you a better reward, money, to make you satisfied." Our protagonist considers the attack force captain to be very audacious and a failure, stating, "If you want the artifacts so badly, you can take them." The captain is happy until our hero adds, "No matter the outcome, you will regret it later." Looking at the fragment of Merlin's staff, it is the artifact that Chunhwa desires most. Even though the attack force was captured, the captain believes he will redeem himself by taking the artifacts from the ruins. The moment he reaches for the staff, he receives a shock and a mark appears on his hand. Kang explains that the staff is made of fine composite materials, but it holds a curse within it. It contains a life force which can only be safely obtained by defeating Alice. However, since she is still alive inside the ring, the curse persists. Upon seeing the effects of the curse on the captain, Saint Teresa is shocked. The duo then leaves. Meanwhile, at the entrance of the test tower in Seoul, the department chief is questioned about whether the information is false or if the man is telling the truth. He simply states that they should wait and see. He also tells Agent Jung to stop complaining. Meanwhile, an affiliate of the Awakened Association decides to take action based on the information they possess. Agent Jung comments that experts believe it will take at least 3 weeks to resolve. The chief, however, is concerned that the stalker is not from the Balhae Guild and has a bad feeling about the whole situation. Suddenly, the ruin, Hall of the Depraved, is completed. This leaves the department chief in utter shock. Immediately after, the warriors of the Balhae Guild begin to emerge from the ruins. They are all congratulated for clearing the first floor and are immediately bombarded with questions. Reporters ask who was the most valuable player of this raid, specifically if it was the captain. However, Song Cheonhwa emerges without hair, eyebrows, or eyelashes, wearing a dejected expression. The reporters, observing the devastated state of the returning warriors, ask what truly happened inside the ruin. Saint Teresa then tells the reporters the shocking truth. It was not Song Cheonhwa who cleared the ruin, she states, nor was it the Zion Guild. Instead, she reveals, it was the masked man alone who completed the ruins. The others, she explains, were merely spectators to our protagonist's extraordinary performance. A woman from the department believes it is imperative to contact the association immediately. She points out that many would not have survived and would have been forced to return home if not for the masked player. On various online forums, everyone speculates about the identity of the masked player. Reports discussing him quickly go viral across the internet. Our hero realizes that these reports contain a lot of unnecessary filler, as the writers know absolutely nothing about him. He observes many heated reactions, even more than he anticipated, reinforcing his decision to appear masked. Since Teresa is the only one who knows his true identity, and she promised to keep it a secret, he has nothing to worry about. With this issue resolved, he decides it is time to speak with the vampire. Inside the ring, Jinzo begins to curse him for keeping her trapped for an entire day. She starts to threaten our human. "Do you even know who I am?" she demands. She then asks what he plans to do, but starts to feel dizzy as he begins to spin the ring. He asks if she feels better. "If you were in my place, you would feel exactly the same," she retorts. However, feeling quite rattled, she states that vampires easily forget grudges. "Just don't do that again," she orders, "and relax your expression." Our protagonist, however, does not obey. He continues spinning the ring. "I will give you an appropriate punishment," he declares. Jinzo begins to cry. "Please, stop," she begs. "I am almost vomiting." He then uses his vampiric separator skill, which involves spinning the item at extremely high speeds. This leaves the vampire completely disoriented. 3 hours later, he picks up the ring once more. Jinzo continues to feel unwell, complaining of nausea as he injects magical power into Braham's ring. With a surge of energy, the vampire is materialized out of it. She grins. "The time has come for my vengeance," she declares, "to return the humiliation you made me suffer." However, she quickly notices that she is significantly smaller than him, almost miniature. Kangjin Hayek had materialized only a sealed portion of her. It is as if she is a mini version of Alice, unable to manifest even 1% of her true power. Despite this severe restriction, she is still more potent than ordinary vampires. He tells her to stop crying and listen. "What I told you in the ruin was not a lie," he asserts. Alice retorts that she does not want this kind of freedom. Our hero clarifies that this is not the freedom he promised. He can grant her the freedom she truly desires. The girl, now hopeful, stops crying. "What does that mean?" she asks. He explains that if she helps him eliminate all those who betrayed her, he will help her regain her lost position as leader of the Ataraxia family. Soon after, a new video detailing his raid is uploaded to the Hall of Fame. Many initially believed that everyone would fail. However, the situation dramatically changed with the appearance of the masked player. In the video's comment section, viewers expressed that it is the first time they have watched something with such nervousness, even knowing the outcome. They were utterly impressed by the way he defeated the vampires using fire. Many recognize him as the man who gained fame from the Swamp of Greed video. One commenter states that if he was recognized by the Saint of Amsterdam, then everyone should also bow before him. People imagine that after his recent display, guilds would be desperate to recruit him. Our protagonist had heard that guilds were swimming in money, and stopping in front of a massive building, he realized just how true that was. It wasn't his concern if a major guild monopolized everything or was corrupt. However, daring to try and eliminate him was something Kang Jin absolutely could not ignore. For those who crossed him, all he would bring was destruction. The moment he stepped inside the building, Kang Jin spotted the security personnel. He immediately invoked his fire magic and unleashed it in their direction. Meanwhile, on the building's rooftop, the angry guild leader fumed. "I ordered you to eliminate that man discreetly in the ruins," he raged. "But all Park Hajin did was awaken the guardians and create a mess. The guild's reputation is in tatters, and everything is about to be exposed because of him." This was Shingeon-su, the leader of the Black Raven Guild, who then struck Park for being utterly useless. Moments later, flames surged into the room, throwing security guards aside. Our protagonist then stood at the doorway, having defeated everyone. "Are you the leader of this guild?" he asked. In shock, Shingeon-su immediately commanded, "Get him at once." Seeing this as a perfect chance to make a good impression and reclaim his former glory as the super rookie Park Hajin, Park decided to rush Kang Jin. But as the protagonist removed his mask, the young man instantly recognized him, only to be met with a powerful punch that sent him flying. Shingeon-su, enraged by the humiliation, swore, "I will penalize you for this." He then activated his swift sword skill to confront our hero. While Shingeon-su reached for his sword, still sheathed, the protagonist calmly sat down on an armchair. Shingeon-su lunged with his sword, convinced that Kang Jin wasn't even perceiving his speed, which he claimed was faster than the speed of sound. He believed the young man would be easily eliminated. But to Shingeon-su's utter shock, his sword shattered in half, broken by a Chinese board game piece. Our protagonist remarked, "These pieces are perfect for throwing." He remained seated, a piece in his hand, and calmly asked, "Shin, can you go back to discussing with me now?" Shin then asked, "Did you come here for revenge, Kang, because I tried to kill you? Are you destroying this entire building just for that?" Suddenly, a thrown chess piece struck Shin, injuring him severely. He fell to the ground, dazed. Our protagonist stated, "Your words are inappropriate." "You have done many things against me," the old man pleaded. "Please stop this. You've had enough revenge. Think calmly. After all, we have 50 high-ranking players who are not here because they are climbing the tower." He continued, "If you eliminate me, they will follow you to hell to avenge Shingeon. Vengeance begets vengeance. Until one side forgives, this will never end." Kang admitted, "That makes sense. However, those words only exist to disturb your sleep." He picked up more chess pieces. "I will end things the right way. I will be the last one to get revenge, and then you can forgive me." "That makes no sense," Shin argued as Kang Jin prepared powerful magic in his hand. This left the old man terrified, as Kang Jin asserted, "I am merely following the logic of the guild leader." With that, he unleashed various projectiles of chess pieces, imbued with magic. The guild leader was struck and sent flying, ultimately eliminated by the barrage. Kang Jin then turned to Hajin and stated, "The only reason you are alive is because of your sister." He continued, "The best way for you is to stay out of my path until I die naturally." Then, he commanded the one feigning death to, "Get up now. If you prove useful, I will let you live. Introduce yourself." The man rose, introducing himself as Kim Hee-won. Wong, 26 years old, who had managed the guild's general affairs. He mentioned that he had a degree in computer science and pledged to obey our protagonist. Kang Jin was impressed, realizing the situation wasn't as simple as he initially thought. It would be a waste to destroy one of the best guilds, so he decided to leave its management to Kim Hee-wong. Kang reassures Kim Hee-wong that it is nothing major, he just needs to maintain appearances. However, Kim states that even if he serves as the guild master, no one will follow him. Kang understands that there will be opposition if a non-combatant suddenly ascends to such a high position. Kang assures Kim not to worry about those who oppose him. He will not deal with them directly. Since it would be too much trouble, our protagonist decides to have someone else handle that task instead. Soon after, people receive a message. It states that all guild members of rank A and above must gather on the rooftop. One person questions the need for an emergency meeting, especially when everyone is busy. They were in the middle of a dungeon invasion. They have no choice but to follow these orders. Reluctantly, all rank A players from the Black Crow Guild head towards the base. One of them wonders why there are so many people in front of the building. They spot their leader, unconscious, on top of a broken car. It becomes clear. He was thrown from the building, landed on the car, and is now eliminated. The person wonders who sent the emergency meeting order if it wasn't the guild master. As this person reaches the top floor, they find Kim Hee-wong. Kim is preparing his magic. The person asks, "Why is the secretary sitting in the master's chair?" Attempting to strike the secretary, the person demands, "Tell me everything that happened." Kim explains that new signatories have arrived. He then points to Alice, who is behind him. Alice states, "This is all very irritating. I asked them to take care of things so I wouldn't have to intervene." The person is speechless. They ask, "Was that child responsible for all of this?" Alice Ataraxia becomes extremely irritated when called a child. She glares fiercely at the rank A individual. Suddenly, a massive explosion erupts on the rooftop. Our protagonist understands. Alice went against his order to take over the guild peacefully. The Awakened Association asks him to submit his test results soon. It has been 2 months since the test tower appeared. The world order has been shaken. Some people are adapting to this new world calmly. Newspapers feature a special report on the masked player. The incident attracted a lot of attention. After all, he cleared a dungeon alone, without any attack force. Furthermore, only 2 people know that he entered the raid as a porter. One is Kim, the former leader of the porters, who agreed to keep his secret. The other is Saint Teresa, who also promised to keep his secret safe. He can act much more easily, maintaining both a masked persona and an unmasked one. Inside the Awakened Association building, all conditions have been met. With no more restraints holding him back, it is time to monopolize everything. The certificate is simpler than he thought. His current rank is F. He encounters a group of old colleagues. They announce that they have leveled up considerably. There are also people with them who claim to know Kang. Everyone begins conversing. He decides to introduce Alice, a player from Northern Europe whom he met. Revealing that she is a vampire would cause confusion, so he keeps this fact hidden. He then introduces Kim. Kim will handle the administration of the Black Crow Guild and other matters. The secretary states, "If you are friends with Kang, I will help you as well." It is the first time he has truly introduced himself. He feels like he is in paradise compared to his past. He tells them, "Anything you need, you can ask me. I have become the true guild master." They are surprised that he has become the true leader of the Black Crow Guild. He begins to argue with Alice for blowing up the building after being called a child. She justifies her actions, stating, "I refuse to resist mere provocations, especially after being alive for thousands of years." Our protagonist ignores her argument. He announces that they will hunt together. Since he will be hunting, he will eventually need Alice's help. She asks, "Are there any hunting grounds left in this world?" She knows that as long as the 3rd floor boss is not defeated and the 4th floor remains unopened, the best dungeons are regulated by guilds. There are no unknown hunting grounds left. Most people think this, but he is the only one who knows the truth. On the 1st floor of the testing tower, there is the Moon Lake. It is a place famous for being the most beautiful scenery in the testing tower. Ironically, no one visits this place anymore. It has been a long time since he first came here. Since there is no time for enjoyment when humanity faces extinction, no one goes to the lake. Even though it is a very elegant place, Alice does not understand how he plans to hunt there. Suddenly, he starts to enter the lake, and she thinks he will soak his pants. Our hero knows that there are 12 statues controlling the Moon Lake. Among them, one statue has another purpose besides controlling the lake. Alice asks, "Is there a secret button?" He replies, "Everyone would have already found it if it were that obvious." As he approaches, he knows that hundreds of players have already found this gap in the statue, as it is a well-known topic in the community. However, until now, no one has found the key that fits into the gap. It is not surprising, because the key is not just a piece of metal, it is the moonlight itself. Our protagonist knows this and manages to open the compartment. He uses his hand to adjust the amount of light and the angle at which the rays enter the space to match the engraved sequence on the stone inside. Finally, he manages to open the mechanism. After all this effort, he is rewarded with a door that leads to the underground, which begins to open in the ground. Kang Jin Hyuk enters and receives a notification realization that he has entered the first underground floor of the testing tower. Alice comes out of the ring. She did not know such a space existed beneath the tower. It has been a long time since she felt this forgotten sense of freedom. Kang, the veteran, asks, "Are you happy to have made the contract with me?" She does not agree, but she admits that he truly did not lie to her. Our protagonist uses the star's blessing to manifest divine power. The second unfreezing of the frozen tear begins. Along with this, his magical power increases by 18, becoming available for use again after only 24 hours. After absorbing the frozen tear again, it becomes easier to contain Alice. He stops to think about what the beings in this tower think of players. After the game became real, he wonders if Alice, who has lived for thousands of years, still thinks she is inside the game. Therefore, he decides to ask Alice something, but he is censored, and she does not understand anything. He realizes that information related to the tower is completely blocked, but the fact that he discovered he cannot talk about this with beings from the tower is already enough. Alice, with her keen perception, notices something approaching. Black claws of a creature begin to walk towards them, and Kang prepares his fire magic. He calls the first underground floor of the testing tower a monster spawn field. The reason for this is the black insects that continuously appear. As soon as the first one tries to attack Kang, the protagonist incinerates it, easily eliminating it. Smiling, he looks at the absurd and infinite number of monsters emerging from the abyss. A level 25 giant beetle appears, startling Alice. Our hero tells her to stay behind him while he faces the creatures. He activates the star's blessing to launch a ray of divine light towards the monster. A large explosion of light occurs, and the monster's physical defenses are reduced by 30%. He asks Alice to show what she is capable of. The vampire replies, "A noble like me does not fight disgusting insects." Kang says, "You are no longer a noble." She ends up accepting and uses her blood connection ability. A barrage of tomato sauce shoots towards the insects, trapping several of them inside capsules. Jin Hyuk finds her attitude perfect, and the gap attribute is applied. Because he is level 100, it reduces the level difference by 33, allowing him to level up to a much higher state by defeating the Abyss Scarabs. Jin Hyuk had been tired of holding back for so long, maintaining his level 1 status. That is why he will now rely on the Abyss Beetles. Acquiring the Sword Tomb skill, he charges towards the monsters. Jin wants all the Abyss insects to come at him non-stop until he levels up. Meanwhile, in the Olympus Guild's conference hall, the leader announced that most of them were gathered, and the meeting would now begin. Patrick, the representative of the Titan Guild, reported that the 8th raid, aimed at reaching the 4th floor, had failed. Out of 15 assembled attack forces, each totaling 100 people, only 9 returned. He explained that the 3rd floor boss was not particularly challenging, but they needed a way to overcome its 100,000 stats. Ten Wei, the representative of the Junghua Guild, added that even with a divine artifact, they had failed. He then questioned, how would they pass through the massive number of statues? Maria, from the Olympus Guild, commented that previous raids had ended too quickly and players had not evolved enough. She believed if they had enough players above level 15, they could win. Bake, the captain of the Dagon Guild's 3rd raid, suddenly accused the Junghua Guild of manipulating the dungeons. He also charged them with monopolizing magic crystals, and Tenwei did not ignore Bayek's words. Friction immediately erupted between them, and they began to fight and shout at each other. The man who convened the meeting ordered them both to stop. "You should not be fighting amongst yourselves," he stated. "We gathered here to solve the problems before us." He then mentioned that just before dawn, they had received news from the demonic humans. They claimed they could help, provided their conditions were met. Everyone present grew irritated at the suggestion of joining forces with them, as the demonic humans were globally wanted criminals. They had an aversion to the idea of working with such individuals. However, the influence of the guilds now surpassed that of the government, and elevated influence for a just cause was more important than ever. For this reason, he imagined the demonic humans were well aware of what they were doing. Suddenly, the atmosphere in the room grew heavy, and dark magic began to emerge. A demonic human appeared, stating, "You are hurting our feelings by calling us trash." He argued that they would not be able to accomplish anything without the help of the demonic humans. As soon as he revealed himself, the guild leaders declared, "We will eliminate you." A very furious Beck grabbed a table and threw it in his direction. Tenwei commented, "It is the first time Beck and I have ever agreed on something." The demonic human replied, "If you change your minds after hearing our proposal, we can unite forces. That way, you would have the necessary power to face the 3rd floor boss." However, Beck countered, the Demonic Human Association does not even have 100 people. The man in the black cloak wielding a skull staff stated, "We do not need quantity." He then struck his staff on the ground, activating the unique truth, Gravedigger of the Black Tomb. Outside, skeletal corpses began to rise from the ground. He explained that thanks to the many wars, there were countless useful corpses buried there. Furthermore, They possessed one of the demonic humans with extensive knowledge of necromancy, which would prove useful. The head of the meeting noted that he was a necromancer and found it absurd that he could command a force of this level. He wondered if his staff was some kind of artifact. The necromancer clarified, "It is the Staff of Greed, a special item that can only be produced by obtaining 99 materials." Wei remarked, "If you are talking about the famous combination of the Staff of Greed and a necromancer, then truly, the chances of succeeding in the third floor raid are not low." Even though they knew the demonic humans were evil and should be eliminated immediately, it did not negate the fact that if they asked for a condition, people would never know what it was, and it might be worth it. Maria was in shock that even Beck had ended up accepting. She realized there was no other choice for them. She questioned how things had reached a point where they were considering allying with demonic humans. She thought, if Jin Hyuk were here, they would not be in this situation. She then wondered what to do. Suddenly, an incoming video call request arrived from an external user, Kang Jin Hyuk. Our protagonist immediately asked, "Is Teresa alright? Is she leveling up?" Kang Jin Hyuk then asks about the situation at their location. The demonic human, in turn, demands to know who he is. "Reveal yourself," he commands. "Don't hide behind a screen." At that moment, the video call switches to a group call. Our protagonist, Jin Hyuk, appears, and they immediately recognize him. He is the mysterious individual who single-handedly cleared the first floor ruins, the super rookie who accomplished this feat alone. Guilds from all over the world have been trying to recruit him. The super rookie they have all been searching for is now right before their eyes. Everyone had tried to contact him, and now they can barely contain their joy at his sudden appearance. The demonic human finds this amusing. He admits he heard about Jin Hyuk clearing the first floor ruins. However, he warns that this boss raid is completely different from those ruins. Our protagonist then asks if they can truly win it. The demonic human boasts that he possesses an army for this very purpose, and the guild representatives readily agree with him. But our protagonist retorts, "You cannot do this with a fake staff." This accusation leaves the demonic human in utter shock. Jin Hyuk then begins to explain. He reveals that the saint's heart and a prison uniform anointed with holy oil were used to create the staff. The guild leader asks if Jin Hyuk has proof of this claim. "Our Lady," Jin Hyuk explains, "stated that the true staff of greed has a red gem beneath the skull, and it is impossible to create the true staff using only materials from the first 3 floors. Furthermore, looking closely at the skeleton soldiers outside, their quality is quite low. They wouldn't withstand anything. It is obvious," Jin Hyuk concludes, "that he is planning to abandon all the guild members and claim their coins and items." This revelation infuriates the demonic human, who declares, "Kang will regret not accepting my offer." He then asks if Kang will still be so full of himself when they meet in person. At that moment, the demonic human disappears after threatening our hero. The guild members immediately ask what to do. Kang Jin replies, "You can leave it to me." He assures them that they won't have to ally with the demonic forces, and they will still gain profits from completing the tower. They question if he can truly do all this alone. He affirms, "I will." Even if he fails, the awakened leaders realize it will still be a good opportunity to recruit him. Compared to joining forces with the demonic humans, this option has no downsides. Thus, the guild leaders do not want to miss this chance. Maria states, "The Olympus Guild will provide all the help you need." The Titans Guild declares, "We will provide the best financial support." Seeing this discussion, our hero replies that they don't need to give him anything. He asks them to simply block the area so no other hunter can enter, ensuring he remains alone. A guild leader asks, "Why are you doing this for us?" Our protagonist pauses, thinking of a plausible reason. He then states, "It's for someone I consider a precious companion." His own words, however, make him feel a wave of secondhand embarrassment. Saint Teresa becomes very happy and shy upon hearing that she is his precious companion. Beck reacts ostentatiously upon learning it's about companionship. As a guild representative, Beck finds himself speechless, and Kang's words force him to reflect on himself. They receive a notification that the screen is being recorded from this call. Any normal person would have demanded payment. However, these guild leaders are not considering the entire scenario. A player who forgoes a reward for companionship is enough to earn something that surpasses mere payment. The video call ends at this exact moment. Kang Jin Hyuk is already level 12, even after less than a day in the monster field. Things are going better than our protagonist anticipated. Suddenly, however, Alice approaches, annoyed that everything has been left to her. The girl exclaims, "We don't have a partnership. This is a slavery contract that is hurting my feelings." Our hero, however, reminds her that he was going to buy her a band supplement, but she insists that such supplements don't work. She explains, Supplements aren't capable of refilling my mana. If it's low, I can't support you. So, she declares, I'll just take all the mana you've consumed. She then begins to drool as she says this. Our protagonist gets scared and tells her, calm down a bit. Suddenly, she sucks the veteran's blood to get some of his mana. She then says, it was delicious. Now my mana is full. Immediately after, the two decide to go shopping and open the store menu. The max level rookie makes his purchases, grabbing a lot of things. Alice thinks he bought a bunch of useless items. He, however, tells her each of them has a purpose. Kang Jin states that from now on, they will be extremely busy as they enter a cave. He explains that they should reach the end of the first basement level, still on this very day. At that moment, he jumps into a crater. Alice asks, why are we jumping if we don't know the depth? However, our protagonist knows exactly how deep it is, as he has jumped there over 100 times. He activates his reverse gravity skill just before landing to avoid hitting the ground. Alice says, you are very daring. Is it skill or luck that keeps you alive? Suddenly, he activates his level 4 fire skill and lights a torch. This reveals he is in the right place, and he finds many monsters there. He knows that insects of this caliber are no match for him, and he is now facing Anubis. Kang Jin states, I know the dog that roams the desert, the Egyptian god of death, Anubis. Anubis planned to amuse himself and eliminate the human since he was the first one there. However, he accelerated his own demise. Our protagonist says, I didn't come here to chat. Anubis asks, do you want to personally fight a god? Alice says, he is very dangerous. I'll hold him back while you escape. Kang Jin knew she would worry about him. However, he tells her, just watch while I go for it. Approaching the god, he intends to show the vampire who he truly formed a contract with. Anubis's innate skill, the judgment of Anubis, is activated. He asks, did you hear about me from this vampire? Then, the first question is presented, and our protagonist must answer. Anubis always activates this skill when confronted, asking 3 questions that must be answered. The conditions for copying the skill are to destroy the vessel containing Anubis's consciousness and to make him lose his patience. If Anubis loses his patience, it is possible to gain the power to ask the most intense question. All Kang Jin needs to do is answer Anubis's questions, without worrying if the answers are correct. Anubis then asks, how else could you have come if not because of the vampire? After answering the question, the god asks, is your objective the hive? The second question is presented. Kang Jin says, the hive can be sold for a high price. So, he answers the second question, and only the last one remains. Anubis asks, do you think you can leave after setting foot in my territory? Our hero says, if you can't deal with me, then you should give up your items and your life. The third question is answered, and the conditions are fulfilled. Thus, the judgment of Anubis is activated. All attributes decrease by 50%. Kang Jin's common and innate skills are sealed for 1 minute. Anubis says, I will need an agent for my judgment. He selects a champion of judgment. A giant praying mantis appears, introduced as the champion responsible for Kang's judgment. Anubis asks him, what do you think of my most worthy champion? Kang Jin responds, it is frightening. However, Kang Jin pulls out a mini gramophone and says, this will be enough to defeat it. It plays one specific song at a time and cannot be destroyed until the song finishes playing. Anubis asks, has he gone mad in front of the champion to play human music? Our hero says, music is something that should be appreciated, you old bastard. The perfect music, a product of hundreds of thousands of experiments. Its beats are precisely aligned with the attack pattern of a giant praying mantis. Just as he had done before, he used the music, and this would render their attacks useless. The god would not have imagined that he would use the beat of the music to avoid attacks. He is certain that Kang Jin planned all of this, and his penalty is almost over. At that moment, the minute comes to an end, and the veteran can use his common and innate skills again. He activates the Sword Tomb skill, materializing his weapon. He charges towards the mantis, cutting it in various ways. The mantis questions, did you think that would defeat a champion? It warns him, I regenerate in seconds. You will only be finished when my vitality reaches its end. Our protagonist responds, I cannot defeat the mantis in its current state, but I can make it wish it were never alive. He then begins to unleash so many cuts that the mantis starts to cry from the intense pain. The vampire sees all of this, noting that he is merely toying with the monster. She didn't know he was so strong. She feels that alongside Kang Jin Hyuk, she can achieve her personal revenge. Our protagonist makes the mantis fall to the ground, crying. The Egyptian god orders it, continue, get up. A proud warrior chosen by the gods is a champion. However, this last blow is meant to shatter the honor of a warrior who believed it would never lose. It will be an insult and a provocation. He will sit on its head. This makes the mantis warrior rise, filled with immense hatred for our hero. Nevertheless, Anubis's champion is defeated and takes its own life due to such humiliation. This leaves the incomplete god in shock. Our protagonist levels up, and a thought crosses his mind. I can do this. The magical castle of the Duchy of Peltaris allows him to learn ice magic. He feels the effect of monopolizing the game. He didn't even know he could acquire this at intermediate levels. He acquires Icefold and activates it. This is an unexpected magic for Kang. The god recognizes that he is not a normal human. He asks, "Do you want to fight me using ice?" Our protagonist replies, "You can barely defend yourself properly, and you are just annoying on the 42nd floor." Anubis knows that since he is a consciousness, he wonders, "Then what is the reason you came to fight me?" Our hero then asserts, "I only came here for fun." The god finds him so audacious for treating him as entertainment that he becomes extremely irritated. Due to this disrespect, Anubis uses Ancient Hive, which summons giant insects infinitely. The hive is controlled by Anubis, who orders the insects. Defeat this insolent human. Thousands of wasps begin to emerge from the hive. Kang says, this won't be enough. He uses his fire and ice magic to annihilate the monsters. After all, he combines his fire abilities and Icefold, then strikes the ground. The combination is a success, and he creates the AA level skill, Daylight. A very strong light begins to emanate from the spot where the protagonist struck the ground. The moment the divine light touches the insects of the abyss, some are extinguished and others are blinded. Daylight is an area of effect skill that compresses and releases magical power, blinding enemies. Anubis realizes he must change his battle strategy. Thus, he activates the chosen target skill, and the hive summons a strengthened entity. A furious wasp emerges from within it, flying at high speed toward Kang. Our protagonist uses the Icefold skill to launch stakes that eliminate the wasp. However, chosen targets are not eliminated. They multiply instead. Therefore, the hero's blow was useless. Several other wasps emerge from within the one that was just eliminated. No matter how strong the skill he uses, it will be useless against them. When the wasps gather, Kang Jin Hyuk becomes happy and takes out a pill. The giant pill is a special item that increases the target's size by up to 10 times. The moment he throws it into a wasp, it is announced that the effects will appear in 1 minute. The wasps begin to be trampled. Our protagonist climbs onto one of them. He holds onto its antennae, using it to fly and attract the others. The Egyptian god becomes irritated with his creatures. He orders them, eliminate Kang now. Because they are animals that are not eliminated and continue to multiply, such an overpowered effect can drive an enemy to despair. The wasps begin to attack each other, attempting to strike our hero. The situation was incredibly difficult to comprehend, under absurdly unfavorable conditions. While they were all bunched up, he uses the unknown cube to trap them. He also uses sticky glue, spider webs, and other items. The 4 items are combined, strengthening the unknown cube and holding the creatures inside. By identifying patterns through repetition and calmly analyzing everything, he gains the ability to change his way of thinking. Our protagonist then activates his level 5 fire ability inside the unknown cube. The wasps and the hive begin to catch fire within the prison he created. At this exact moment, the effects of the giant pill are activated. Then, the wasps inside the cube start to grow, hitting one another. Soon, the wasps are eliminated, and giant pills are dropped inside the cube. To confront a boss that commands an army, it is essential to have as many giant pills as possible. After all, a monster that multiplies non-stop also multiplies experience points and items. Being a perfect copy machine, Anubis is very shocked by what has just happened. Anubis realizes that Kang had prepared these items for a combo, already knew how to deal with the hive, and had set a trap. The god is certain that the young man had been planning this from the very beginning, and this infuriates him greatly. Anubis destroys the hive. Our protagonist then says, "This was getting fun." Anubis is extremely irritated that a mere human has disrespected and humiliated him in this manner. He declares, "You had better climb the Tower of Trials and survive." Kang replies, "I already planned to do that, even without the god screaming at me to do it." Anubis warns that when this happens, he will use a judgment on Kang for being disrespectful. Immediately after this, the Egyptian god's vessel is destroyed. Our hero thus meets the conditions and learns Anubis's judgment, an overrank skill. This ability allows him to ask 3 questions to the target, reducing their attributes by 50%. It can only be used against a single target once, and if this rule is exceeded, the wrath of the gods will fall upon him. The Egyptian gods in turn show interest in Kang's existence and express hostility. Meanwhile, our protagonist is angry with the gods. The vampire asks, "What happened?" He explains that he won and has reached level 19. This is the first time he has leveled up so quickly in this area. He does not know what will happen from now on, so he decides to distribute his points equally. Suddenly, he receives a video call. He finds it surprising that this person is calling him. Cheon Yusung asks, "Where are you? Is there any place you know?" Our hero does not explain. Cheon then states that he needs to make him a proposal. In 24 hours, the Awakened Association will host a martial arts tournament. Rank A players and higher, including Yusung, will participate participate. Kang finds it strange that the association is holding a tournament when they are failing to defeat the third-floor boss. Cheon wants him to participate so they can have their ultimate fight and determine a winner. Kang, at first, shows no interest in fighting Cheon as he does not possess an ability that Kang can copy. However, he says he will not refuse, as Cheon possesses a ticket to the black market. This immediately catches the attention of Kang Jin Hyuk. Cheon explains that the black market is different from a coin market used by players. It is like a secret auction house, used only by invited members who use real money. Places like this are starting to appear throughout the Tower of Trials. It offers many precious items that will be useful for defeating the third-floor boss. Since it is a place only the wealthy attend, Kang can acquire the best items there. Soon after, his video spreads and is chosen as the highlight of the week. In the only video uploaded by the newly created Unknown channel, people see the masked man with Teresa. Since the parts where the demon appeared were cut, no one criticized the guilds. He also does not want to turn the guilds into enemies, and the comments wish for him to defeat the boss. People notice his great personality, and they wonder if he'll easily defeat the third-floor boss. Some viewers demand he show his face, a reaction he had already anticipated. He is now a famous player, shrouded in mystery, leaving everyone curious. The atmosphere intensifies as he proudly declared he would challenge the boss alone, right in front of all the guilds. His video has now amassed 50 million views, and remember, people can only watch a video once a day. Since he receives 100 coins for every 10,000 views, he will get 50,000 coins, even after the platform's fees. Although the fee might seem high, it's still a significant income for him. Meanwhile, Kang Jin Hyuk wonders when the tournament will finally end, as he's already growing bored. This fighting tournament features 24 competitors, all players with an AA rank or higher. The large guilds and awakened individuals came together to host this event, primarily due to public criticism. It's a way to demonstrate that these players are both strong and trustworthy. This tournament acts as a public spectacle, though not everyone will get the chance to witness the players' full abilities. Perhaps it's not a bad way to alleviate the prevailing tension. Anyway, our protagonist accepted Cheon Yusung's invitation to the black market. However, he stated that he hadn't achieved a rank above AA and therefore couldn't compete. His enemy then reveals that the champion receives two choices. The first is a divine relic from the National Museum. The second choice the champion can make is to nominate a player who didn't compete to fight against them. That's why his enemy aims to become champion, to ensure he defeats our protagonist in front of everyone. Back in the arena, two players face off, seemingly holding back to avoid severely injuring each other. Suddenly, an Anubis is summoned, completely surprising the two fighting players. They are easily thrown and defeated by a team of two very strong men. Association members note their power, realizing that the public will indeed feel safer because of them. However, Hong Daeokpyo, the S-rank CEO of the Black Cloud Guild, states he only has eyes for one person. He finds the swordsman's firm control and ability to see from a broad perspective incredible. They approached this swordsman and asked if he was interested in joining their guild, but he refused. He is the first person to ever reject an invitation to the guild, showing immense spirit compared to others. Hong Daeokpyo finds this swordsman so infuriating that he can't even look at him. Young Do-yoon, an AAA rank member of the Black Cloud Guild, believes this swordsman would have brought Cheon to his knees. The CEO, however, tells him to stop worrying about battles and focus on his upcoming interview. Do-yoon confidently asserts that he is very good at screens and will reach S rank in 3 years due to his immense talent. He explains that if the world discovers they've brought in someone with such potential, the guild's status will soar. Meanwhile, back on the battlefield, various fighters clash, battling against the Anubis. Suddenly, something catches their attention, and many begin to be defeated all at once. Even the old man who summoned the Anubis, along with his partner, are easily overcome. Then, the swordsman Cheon Yusung defeats everyone in a single swift move, becoming the champion of the tournament. The media is astonished that a winner emerged so quickly. Cheon Yusung rejects the divine relic. Instead, he chooses an opponent from outside the tournament. The Black Cloud CEO initially believes he will pick a guild master as his target. However, Cheon Yusung points his sword directly into the audience, ordering a man to face him. Young Do-yoon misunderstands, thinking he has been chosen to fight Cheon Yusung. Daeokpyo quickly tells the boy to sit down, explaining that he wasn't the one chosen. After all, Cheon Yusung is pointing to a spot much higher than where they are seated. The champion then demands the man appear immediately and stop pretending he doesn't know he was selected. Young, still confused, believes there is no one more worthy in this entire venue other than himself or Hong Daeokpyo. Our protagonist stands up and says, "You really know how to annoy someone." At that moment, the champion guardian lowers his sword, confirming this is indeed the right person. The awakened individuals become desperate to uncover this person's identity and data. They soon discover he is Kang Jin-hyuk, an F-rank player. Simply fighting an AAA rank like Jung would have significantly boosted his popularity. Cheon Yu-sung chose an F rank for this challenge. Hong realizes he gains nothing from this encounter. He suspects Kang has a fetish for humiliating the weak. Kang, in turn, demands a promise from his opponent. He states this must be the last time they challenge him, as they need to learn when to give up. Yu-sung finds Kang arrogant for asserting he will win against him, the newly crowned champion. Our protagonist, however, notices that Yu-sung has indeed grown stronger, having trained extensively. Cheon is offended by this observation. After all, he trained ceaselessly just to defeat Kang Jin. You will need to fight for real if you want an invitation to the black market. Yu-sung then activates his Soul Snatcher sword skill. He immediately follows up, using the Soul Snatcher sword art, Second Strike, the Soul Snatcher flame. Seeing the blue flames of the skill, our protagonist already feels a pang of sadness. He knows they are about to fight again. Deciding to fight with all his might, he curses the stalker. He then unleashes his fire skill at maximum level. Suddenly, an explosion erupts in a nearby building. Their intense battle spills out of the arena, causing widespread destruction. Cheon, battered, questions our protagonist. How many skills do you possess? Immediately after, he can no longer resist. He is defeated, collapsing unconscious to the ground. Our hero then declares he will make good use of the black market invitation, taking it from his defeated opponent's pocket. Meanwhile, players in the audience chatter about a giant ice missile. They claim it destroyed the ceiling with a beam of light. The players find it incredibly strange, given that Kang is merely F rank. Soon after, our protagonist has a reunion with an old man. He and this other person haven't seen each other since their last encounter at the National Museum of Korea. They both acknowledge their previous fierce encounter. However, they agree that is in the past, and neither wishes to be enemies anymore. As a way to get along from now on, Kang asks for Lee Yuri's number. If you don't want to give it to me, you can refuse if you wish, but that's only if you can handle the consequences. Our hero, Kang Jin-hyuk, immediately recognizes this favor as a mere facade. He is, in essence, threatening her. Suddenly, someone leaps from the middle of the audience, startling everyone present. This newcomer lands directly in front of our protagonist. He expresses surprise that Kang won. Despite being only rank F, Kang Jin-hyuk activates his Eye of Truth at level 3, immediately seeing Young Do-yeon's true status. Young Do-yeon then speaks. I did not expect an event like this to unfold. Kang's system reveals the conditions for copying a skill. Discover the target's intentions. If met, he can copy the giant's grip. Our protagonist finds it suspicious that Young Do-hyun approached him with a clear plan already in mind. He wonders, how does the system know what people are thinking? He suspects it must be more than just a simple program. The AAA rank, however, assures him, I did not come here to fight. From now on, we can be colleagues working together in the same field. He extends a hand towards our hero, saying, you will be under my care. Upon hearing this, Kang Jin-hyuk immediately reactivates his Eye of Truth skill. He instantly sees that Young Do-hyun's words are nothing but lies. Behind Young's superficial smile, Kang perceives an underlying torrent of inferiority and fury. Reporters are already gathered, as if they had been waiting for this exact moment. Young's outstretched hand, seemingly asking for a handshake, is actually meant to activate his unique skill, the power of a giant. Furthermore, the representative of the Black Cloud Guild watches with an expression full of expectation. He plans to dominate the new recruit, who just defeated the tournament champion, right in front of everyone. It's an obvious plan. Young intends to redirect all the gathered attention directly onto himself. By seeing through Young Do-hyun's true intentions, the conditions for the copy skill are met. At that exact moment, our protagonist learns the giant's grip skill. This skill drastically increases grip strength. Kang is now free to wield items up to 10 times his own weight. When the tower was merely a game, there was no opportunity to copy skills due to the scarcity of other players. But now that it has become reality, skills acquired by others through sheer effort can be stolen and collected by our hero. Kang pretends to be interested in becoming Young's colleague. He asks if this handshake represents Young's guild. Young affirms this. He explains that Kang, currently unaffiliated with any guild, can join his guild and receive special treatment. Jin-hyuk then asks, will I receive an immense payment if I join your guild? Do-hyun says that's obvious. Just name your price and it's decided. Before shaking the man's hand, he needs to ask one thing. He asks, did you really think you could win if this were a strength competition? Young says, that's obvious. He then activates Giant's Grip at level 5. Young starts to laugh sadistically, squeezing our protagonist's hand, believing he has won. However, our protagonist doesn't even move. Kang activates Anubis's Judgment. The AOA ranker Young finds it strange that the man isn't moving an inch, until Young falls to his knees. Jin-hyuk's hand emanates purple lightning. Jin-hyuk says, you're resisting a lot. He continues, "It seems you're very confident in your strength, but you're overreacting to the pain for someone your size." Our protagonist squeezes Jung's hand even harder. Jung screams, begging him, "Stop. This is a low blow." Then our hero delivers a punch to the enemy's stomach. The enemy flies far away due to the massive impact of the punch. Kang says, "We would never be colleagues. How did you dare act like you would be my friend?" Suddenly, something lands on the battlefield. Our protagonist activates the Eye of Truth ability. The CEO of the Black Cloud Guild arrives, extremely irritated. He states that he worked very hard for this moment. Our protagonist analyzes his status. He sees that he is a level 34 berserker. He also notes that the condition for copying the Blood Demon's IQ ability is to destroy Hong's pride. Kang says he understands his anger. He proposes they forget this fight. Hong becomes even more irritated by the boy's cowardice after coming so far. Kang says, "The real reason is, I don't want to eliminate any guild masters." This leaves Hong Deokpyo extremely irritated. He activates the Blood Demon's IQ ability. As Hong prepares an attack, the boy asks, "Are you serious?" Our max level rookie activates the Daylight ability at level 2. Hong jumps into the air. Kang throws a beam of light toward him, blinding everyone. Then, Kang materializes his purple dagger. They engage in a clash of strength. The Gap attribute is activated. Kang Jin uses 99 points to reduce the 33 level difference. The CEO didn't think Kang had the strength to resist his Blood Demon ability. Kang clashes head-on with Hong, who was previously in a raid against the Colossus boss on the second floor. With red eyes and a demonic expression, Hong tells the boy, "Don't make me laugh like that." Suddenly, someone activates the Arbitration ability. It stops Hong in mid-air, enveloped by an immobilizing energy. Kang thinks that Hong should present a better image at the martial arts tournament with everyone watching. Han Sang-jin, the president of the association, appears after stopping the combat between them. Our protagonist realizes that he is the man who commands Korea's Awakened. President Han Sang-jin of the Awakened Association stands with a very serious expression on his face. Hong says, "You arrived just in time. This man was beating up a player affiliated with our guild." Han says, "There would be injuries. This isn't a talent show, but a combat tournament." He then says, "It's a pleasure to meet player Kang." He introduces himself as the president of the Awakened. Being honest with our protagonist, Han admits he knew nothing about him until 20 minutes ago. However, Han received a call from the department responsible for the martial arts tournament. This person told him to come to the tournament immediately because something unbelievable was happening. Han investigated Kang's test results. He discovered that Kang pressured his examiner. He then congratulates Kang Jin-hyuk for becoming Korea's 16th S ranker. The association takes responsibility for the analysis error. They offer their apologies. All reporters and media outlets go wild when they see a new S ranker has emerged. Everyone swarms him with this incredible news, eager to interview him. They walk right over Jung's fallen body, the AA ranker. Hong becomes irritated. The fighting tournament was supposed to be the Black Cloud Guild stage, but they are being pushed aside. Because of this, he decides to reverse the situation somehow. He yells to everyone, "Wait." He grabs a reporter's arm. He says, "My guild will defeat the third floor boss." The reporter flees, telling Hong to call him later. Kang Jin became the center of attention, being interviewed by everyone. The conditions for copying had been met, as he had destroyed Hong Deokpyo's pride. He thus learned the Blood Demon Chi skill, which is very powerful. Soon after, he appeared in various media outlets, recognized as Korea's 16th rank S Awakened. He noticed some positive and some not-so-positive reactions to this news. The head of the Awakened learned he was heading to Las Vegas and arranged a private plane for him. Kang realized that high-ranking Awakened received very different treatment, which is why everyone desired such status. Our max-level rookie traveled first class on the plane, heading to Las Vegas. He was eating very expensive food until the vampire Alice warned him about something. She told him to look at a man in front of him, saying that the aroma he exuded was strange and unpleasant. When she stated she did not want to taste his blood, Alice affirmed he was no ordinary human. Our protagonist became alert, as there had to be something very wrong with this man. After all, if Alice didn't want to taste his blood, it meant there was something truly amiss with the blonde man. Kang activated his Eyes of Truth level 3, and noticed the man was a level 27 necromancer. The conditions for copying were to achieve maximum affinity and join the Demonic Human Association. He was shocked to discover this man was a demonic human. Jin Hyuk could not believe he was pretending to be human with such a calm demeanor. The demonic human passed by him and recognized him, saying, "You recently became a rank S." Kang believed it was no coincidence that the man took the same plane on purpose. He thought that not only the major guilds were interested in him after the announcement about his rank. At that moment, our protagonist said, "I was just reevaluated as rank S a short while ago." The man said he saw the tournament coverage. He introduced himself as Alex Judro and handed Kang a business card. Alex said, "Our meeting must have been fate." He then invited Kang for a drink. However, the veteran wanted to play his game for a bit. He accepted to drink with the demonic human. Alex told him all sorts of stories, while bringing out the most expensive brandy. Stories about his cosmetics business and the difficulties he faced when the tower emerged. Kang wondered if Alex, who was trying his best to reveal who he was, knew that Kang had already discovered his true identity. Then, Alex said that the reason he came to Korea was not just for his cosmetics. It was to expand his awakened-related businesses. We want to enter the field due to recent changes. However, there's a small problem. He then began talking about the masked player in the tower. Our protagonist feigned ignorance and said, "I saw him declaring he would defeat the third-floor boss alone." Alex replied, "I was going to participate in the third-floor raid, but I ended up in a bad situation because of him." Even though he says it's to protect his companions, he doesn't want to be bothered because he's going alone. Our protagonist said, "It's as if you know him personally." Alex replied, "I do." Kang Jin-hyuk found it impressive how calmly Alex could lie. Then, Alex proposed that Kang join them to face the third-floor boss, as he would be of great help. Jin said he didn't understand the proposal. The unknown player said he wanted to clear the raid alone. Alex explained, "As a rank S, he has the right to act independently. No one can touch him. It's a situation where the major guilds are promising a private raid for the unknown player." Our protagonist knew that since they would restrict entries to the boss room, this was how they would try to get in. Jin questioned if the request wasn't exaggerated. "I just became an S rank. I would have to face the guilds." Alex said, "I am a businessman. The more complicated the demand, the greater the payment I will receive." He then explained about the potion of legends. It could cure any illness, even regenerate a destroyed heart. Truly an elixir. This caught our protagonist's attention. He questioned, what did the demonic human association do to obtain something so rare? Holding this item, Kang realized it was very tempting. Anyone would desire to have it. Alex handed over the item as an advance payment if Kang signed the contract. At that moment, Kang activated his skill, Contract of the Dead, at level 6. Judro said, "An opportunity like this doesn't come every day. Its appearance is that of a common contract. However, if you break the conditions, you will be eliminated instantly." Kang decides not to sign. He gives the excuse of being too cautious and not wanting to turn the guilds into enemies. Alex states, "If even this isn't enough to satisfy him, then I have lost hope in the boy." They decide to forget the agreement made based on the elixir. However, even though our protagonist is cautious, he is also the greedy type, who wants everything he desires for himself. This irritates Alex, who doesn't understand the boy's plan. Suddenly, the plane begins to shake violently. Alex wonders why Kang is using so much mana. He asks, does he want to take down the plane? An announcement is made to all passengers in the cabin. The plane is experiencing sudden turbulence. Passengers are asked to return to their seats and fasten their seatbelts. Kang decides to return to his place. Alex asks if he knew from the beginning about the group he was affiliated with. Jin replies that he did know. Judro warns, do not irritate them too much, or you will pay the price for it. Jin retorts, that's a lie. They are on the unknown side, even after being humiliated at the Olympus meeting. Alex asks, how do you know that? Are you perhaps close to the unknown? Subsequently, Alex considers the possibility that Jin might be bluffing about this. After all, the great guilds might have shared information since he just became an S rank. Our hero offers to give him information if the man knows how to behave. He wishes for a future reunion with Alex as the plane lands on the ground. They then arrive in Las Vegas, a city with large casinos and luminous screens. The vampire asks, is this a human city? I don't think it's bad. Our protagonist allowed her to come out as a reward for discovering the demonic human. However, 150 centimeters is the distance limit with her current mana. He decides to use the world's memory to merge the skills Truth Eye and Demon Blood IQ. The fusion is successful, and he obtains the SSS rank skill, Eye of Gluttony. It is a superior version of the Truth Eye. It can use shared vision and mind reading. The characteristics of the Demon Blood increase the chance of his personality being corrupted if he uses it too much. He intends to merge the Truth Eye with a more stable spirit-type skill in the future. He had no choice now, as he urgently needed to use the skill. His friend Alice asks, are we going to a casino? He replies that they are going to another place. He cannot use magical abilities like that in common casinos. Although he could forcibly take their money since it concerns auction funds, taking money from workers crosses the line for our protagonist. Alice asks, where are we going? Our protagonist states that it is an incomparable place. This excites the girl. They arrive at the Tortuga betting house. The vampire liked the other building more. Kang Jin says, this place is not for playing around. Suddenly, a person starts screaming loudly in the establishment. I saw with my own eyes a person using magical abilities. A man in a suit hits him. He then says, nobody performed tricks. That man used several abilities. The man asserts, in this place only idiots are deceived. Our protagonist agrees. Alice thinks there's a lot of fun to be had. She asks asks about the difference compared to other places. Our hero explains, this is a casino where you can freely use magic. He tells her to put anything she wants to drink on the tab. Our protagonist then drinks a shot. He leaves the girl at the bar while he goes to take care of his affairs. He declares that he will earn foreign money and enters the casino. He activates the Source Seal skill at level 3. This skill ensures that the designated object is not affected by other abilities for 10 minutes. However, the user's own abilities still have an effect on the objects. The betting house's dealer is named Pedro. He is the one who watches the hands. Pedro has already lost over 500,000 to the Asian Kang Jin Hyuk. He will be upset if he loses more. Pedro decides to end this now, no matter what happens. He increases the bet to decide everything in this round. The maximum level rookie goes all in, betting his 5 million coins. He asks, is that all right? There's a lot of money. This surprises everyone. Pedro asserts, the house is always very confident. Kang asks, which guild manages this house? Pedro explains that it is the Scavenger Guild, which invests in this establishment. Pedro thinks that the boy said nothing until now, and suddenly started asking questions. As if reading his mind, the protagonist asks, is there a problem with me asking questions? Pedro then replies, there is no problem. I can answer any questions you have on this matter. He wonders if the protagonist possesses some kind of mind-reading ability. Then, the man turns over the cards to reveal the result of the game. Pedro uses his skill, Strange Gestures, believing that if he replaces the cards when turning them, he won't do anything wrong. However, even after replacing the cards with his ability, they are still the same pair of jacks. He questions what happened, as he was certain he had changed the cards. Our protagonist, meanwhile, is relieved, having narrowly won with his pair of kings. He had used his very useful and newly acquired skill, Eyes of Greed, to read Pedro's mind. At that moment, Kang Jin Hyuk sweeps all the money chips from the table. But then, someone arrives, preventing him from completing this act. A man in a suit says, you need to come with us even if we don't know what skill you used. Another man adds, someone who takes this much money from us cannot be considered a customer. The men in suits try to forcibly grab him and take him to a room. However, one of the giant men is sent flying after taking a very powerful blow. Our hero remembers what he heard from the mouth of that man outside before entering. Only idiots are fooled in this place. He thinks this with a determined expression, ready to attack. A man starts firing shots at our protagonist, who skillfully dodges them. He then charges at the man in the suit, delivering a blow that slams him into the ground and eliminates him. Meanwhile, Alice is at the bar. The other customers begin to get excited by the ongoing fight. Alice asks the name of some drinks and orders a cocktail called Fire Kiss. It is a drink that represents passion between couples, something silly for the vampire. At this moment, she takes a sip, completely oblivious to the brawl unfolding behind her. The guild executives are estimated to arrive in 30 minutes. They feel that something is wrong. No matter how unregulated this place is, no one has ever caused so much chaos alone, like Kang, who is beating up many people. A person arrives with serious news and shows a video to the section chief. The video, playing on the phone, shows that Kang Jin was recently named an S rank in South Korea. The chief is shocked. After all, there are only 20 S ranks in the United States, and he had never seen one up close. He realizes that if Kang wished, he could destroy the entire casino in the blink of an eye. That's how strong he is. Suddenly, someone orders everyone to stop fighting. The chief quickly apologizes for his lack of manners and for not recognizing who Kang was. Then, he kneels and removes his suit, profusely apologizing. Kang does not understand why he is apologizing and asks if his behavior changed after discovering his rank. The chief, trembling, says, "That's not what I meant." Our protagonist then asks, "Does this place do these kinds of things where idiots are fooled?" He declares that he will take the money he won fairly in the games, and he will also take $10 million as compensation for the mental damages they caused him. Otherwise, he threatens, "You will close your doors once and for all if you do not accept my proposal." He opens his bank account, which now holds $10 million, an amount that will be enough to buy the items he wants. In any case, something mysterious is soon arriving at Kang's location. Then, a suspicious car appears asking, "Are you client number 117? I will take you to the auction house." Our protagonist holds his invitation and heads to the black market car auction. He cannot see what is happening either outside or inside, as the auction house is a secret place. Eventually, they arrive in front of a mansion, and he is anxious for what will happen inside. The man who drove his car tells him to enjoy his stay upon arriving in front of the mansion. Alice asks, "Did you not forget your promise?" He goes to a place where people cannot see them. She steps out of the ring, beginning to breathe the air, which is much better there, a place worthy of a noble. The vampire asks if he will participate in the auction. Jin says, Yes, we cannot attract attention. After all, the venue is elegant and many eyes are watching them. Meanwhile, people comment that even though they attend every year, they are particularly nervous today. This is because rare tower items like the ichthyosaur's heart are appearing at this year's auction. Indeed, all sorts of ancient treasures are surfacing due to the tower's mana wave. Therefore, they are all curious to witness it firsthand, even if they don't purchase anything. Suddenly, Alice detects a strong, nauseating smell. At that moment, a person holding a black staff approaches, stating, "It is a pleasure to meet our protagonist." He introduces himself as Julius Cedric, claiming to be Alex Judro's master. Jin realizes that this is the master who had severely beaten Alex Judro for stealing the elixir and for failing to accomplish his mission. Our protagonist activates his Eyes of Gluttony, observing that Julius is level 30 and possesses incredibly powerful attributes. He considers obtaining a unique skill from him, one with excellent synergy for a necromancer. This is a highly sought-after ability, as it allows for the manipulation of summons with minimal mana. However, the copy conditions are to complete Cedric's black magic education and achieve an A+ grade. This is because Cedric is furious with his students for failing too many of their missions. Our protagonist finds this copy condition peculiar, thinking that the system is becoming absolutely insane. He therefore decides to provoke the necromancer by stating that he received something valuable from his disciple during their flight. Julius seems pleased by this and immediately wants information about this unknown item, as it is crucial to him. Jin realizes the old man is getting straight to the point and states this is not a good place to talk. However, before Jin could leave this spot and move elsewhere, the old man blocks his path. Cedric insists, "Unfortunately, there will be no other moment. We must resolve this as soon as possible." Our protagonist, however, pushes Cedric's staff out of his way, saying, "That is not my problem." He then ignores the old man and walks straight ahead, infuriating Alex Judro, who views this as disrespect towards his master. The old man, though, calmly states that there are still ways to resolve this, and prevents his disciple from acting rashly. Alice finds them incredibly irritating and asks, "Can I just finish them off?" But Kang Jin Hyuk, not wanting any trouble, clarifies that he is here to purchase useful items at the auction. Auction number 175 is about to begin. They decide to take their seats. The first item is revealed to be a meteorite that fell in Arizona, emitting powerful mana. The auctioneer opens the bidding at $100,000, and people immediately begin to make their offers. Currently, there is no known artisan capable of working with meteoric iron. Since no one knows how to utilize it, this is the perfect opportunity to buy it cheaply. For this reason, our protagonist makes his offer of $300,000. In this way, he manages to purchase the meteoric iron at a price far below its actual value. However, just as our hero's joy peaks, a bid of $1,000 is suddenly announced. This offer, made by the demonic humans, shocks everyone at the auction. Next, bidding for the sealed psychiatric catalog begins at $100,000. Kang Jin Hyuk once again makes an offer of $300,000. And once again, Julius Cedric steps in, raising the bid to $1,000. At that moment, the item is sold to Cedric for $1,000. Our protagonist had already anticipated that the demonic human planned to buy everything he intended to purchase. He realizes this will be a direct competition to acquire items. The next item, discovered in South America from the Mayan civilization, is presented. Without even hearing the description, our hero offers $500,000, clearly having a plan. The demonic human bids $1,000,000, and our protagonist counters with an additional $500,000. However, Julius then intervenes, offering $3,000,000 for the item. The auctioneer, seeing the $3,000,000 offer, asks if anyone else has a bid. Our veteran remains silent, and the item is sold to Julius for $3,000. Their bidding war continues, with items being sold for $2,000 and $3,000 to each of them respectively. Several more items are sold for $5 million to the demonic human. The next item is presented as interesting, said to be from the era when Columbus discovered a new continent. Alex asks, "Why don't you give up something at least once?" His master, visibly irritated, replies that Alex will not easily achieve what he wants. "Even if I have suffered some losses, I will acquire every item Kang desires to buy." The demonic human's goal is to exchange these items for information about the unknown. The subsequent item is announced as being for true enthusiasts, revealed to be the very first chessboard. Generally, people consider the item useless, puzzled about what to do with a chessboard without its pieces. Alice notices our protagonist makes an initial offer of $50,000. $50,000. Then, the macabre hooded man raises the offer to $100,000. Immediately, our protagonist offers $1 million. Cedric then offers $8 million and shouts in despair, "Is there something about this item that we don't know since it's now worth $8 million?" Our hero confidently counters with a bid of $10 million. It is at this moment that the demonic human smiles and offers $30 million. He states, "$10 million seems to be all Kang has, and I understand that you want this chessboard very much. Kang, you will have to beg on your knees if you truly want it. No one makes an offer higher than $30 million. Kang realizes that even after being made to spend so much money, the man still possesses such vast wealth. Observing that Julius has far more money, Kang understands he needs a plan. The 56th item of the auction is sold for $30 million to the old man. However, before the auctioneer could finalize the sale, Alice stands up and offers $100 million for the chessboard. Julius Cedric is utterly shocked, witnessing a bid of $100 million for a mere chessboard. He wonders, what is wrong with this person, who has already spent over $700 million on trash? To ensure his efforts are not in vain, he offers $110 million. But the vampire surprises everyone by offering $200 million for the board. At this point, the old man becomes furious, refusing to believe she possesses $200 million to spend. The man in charge of the auction requests proof of the young girl's finances. Suddenly, she opens a portal from which many gold coins appear. She believes this is sufficient proof. Everyone finds the sheer quantity of gold pieces she possesses to be unbelievable. Just the crown alone is valued at over $500 million, leaving the old man in shock. He had not realized that the girl is not a common human. However, the most dangerous revelation is that the girl is treated as a subordinate by Kang Jin. Perhaps an enemy more irritating than the unknown has now appeared. Julius then accepts that his plan has been defeated, and they must proceed to Plan B. Alex cannot contain his happiness, as he had been waiting for the old man to say that. Kang and Alice are congratulated for acquiring the first chessboard, which is then delivered to Alice. She expresses genuine gratitude, though she finds the situation a bit exaggerated. The vampire replies, "It doesn't matter anyway. I wanted to clean out my treasure as it was getting too full, and I didn't want anyone inferiorizing my contractor." Our protagonist realizes the girl can speak beautifully and is genuinely touched. Suddenly, a very strong explosion rocks the venue, startling everyone. At that moment, the ceiling begins to collapse, and all the people frantically try to escape before they are injured. In great haste, people scramble towards the door, attempting to flee. Alex Judro begins to sacrifice these people, intending for them to serve as his materials. The enemy activates the mana furnace, and people begin to feel as if their heads will explode. The people beg for someone to save them, and our protagonist is deeply horrified by this scene. He exclaims, "Both of these demonic humans have gone too far." He becomes intensely angry. Souls begin to exit the bodies of the people in the room. Then, a terrifying creature appears, and it is the one sucking the souls. Our protagonist understands that this is the fault of that disgusting necromancer. Alex dislikes this comment and refers to his monsters as adorable. He already expected the rank S to remain standing and resist this magic. He vividly remembers the humiliation he suffered on the plane, and the order to eliminate him has already been issued. Our hero begins to levitate, emanating mana. He declares, "I don't need to be patient anymore." Soon, the monsters rush towards him, but he hurls them away with his massive strength. Alex assumes he is quite fast. He then asks, "Where did the vampire go?" Our protagonist replies, "She doesn't like disgusting people, so she fled alone." In reality, her physical body was dismissed. This is because he needs to use his magic. The mana furnace is causing continuous damage, and dragging out this fight will be detrimental. At that moment, the two remaining monsters charge at Kang Jin Hyok. He decides to end this fight as quickly as possible, and immediately attacks the creatures. He activates the Sword Graveyard ability, using it to cut and eliminate the monsters. The strike is highly effective. They are shredded by his powerful sword and ability. Alex comments, "That was surprising. I couldn't keep up with your movements." Alex then prepares a magic circle. He states, "I already have enough materials around me," adding, "There's nothing easier than this, using sacrifice souls." Our protagonist realizes Alex plans to drag out the fight by doing this. Alex absorbs people's life force. He continues to raise bodies, making Kang lose mana. This is how necromancers fight. Alex Judro then smiles sadistically at him. Our protagonist dodges the monster's attacks and tries to advance. Kang asks, "Is that all you have up your sleeve?" He asserts, "I will burn all these monsters before they can be resurrected." He uses the daylight ability, channeling it through his sword towards the creatures. A very strong light erupts from his sword. The necromancer becomes concerned about the use of this skill. However, he had already noticed noticed everything. He observed Kang's abilities during the party. He just needs to separate the summons and attack him before the rays converge. Nevertheless, he is shocked because the monsters are not moving. After all, their feet are frozen. Jin Hyuk used his ice magic. This becomes evident as the tips of their toes are frozen. The necromancer couldn't see him using the ice ability due to the bright light. Just as he is in complete shock for not having noticed the strategy, another bright glow appears. Our protagonist tells him, "Go to hell." A very strong light then rushes directly towards the necromancer. The divine light pierces through the entire mansion. Alex lies on the ground, unable to believe what just happened. All of his monsters were defeated by Kang. Our hero appears beside him. He mocks Alex's emotional attachment to the corpses. The necromancer then tries to attack our hero. He throws objects, which Kang easily defends against. Alex then runs away. He cannot believe he lost this fight, even with everything in his favor. As he tries to escape to reach his master, he is struck from behind. A sword plunges into his chest. This fells Alex to the ground. It shows precisely how one throws a weapon. After causing all this chaos, Kang finds it cowardly that Judro tried to escape. He then declares he will show Alex how he will eliminate him. He states, "For the next 30 minutes, your lungs will fill with ketchup. You will be slowly suffocated." He believes this is the second most painful way to die, after being burned alive. Asphyxiation is the next worst. This outcome could change if Alex speaks about the demonic society. Kang shows he holds an elixir in his hands. Alex feels an inspiring will to survive. However, he cannot speak. His throat is blocked with tomato sauce. Thus, he decides to write on the ground. Using his own bodily fluid, our veteran states, "You have no choice, since you don't want to speak." He then stomps on Alex's hand. He continues, "I won't need to use the elixir. I never truly planned to hear what you might say." He hands back the card with Alex's name on it and says, "I hope you depart in the most painful way possible." As he departs from the location, he finds a mineral. It was created by Michelangelo, and it immediately captures his attention. Along with the dragon's heart, this mineral is a type of material that can be used to create a large inventory. So, he combines the dragon's heart and the Michelangelo-created mineral. This combination creates an enormous inventory space, capable of holding over 5,000 kilograms. At that moment, the auction host approaches to thank Kang Jin Hyuk. His son is with him, and he also thanks our protagonist for saving them. However, since it was an item he desperately needed, Kang decides to invent an excuse. He says he did not need that item. The host assures him it is all right. He had seen Kang before things turned chaotic, and it was Kang who saved them. Therefore, he could not accuse the person who saved his only son's life. Our hero is impressed, as this is the first time he has witnessed such a thing. After the host turns a blind eye, Kang leaves the location with the stolen items. On the third floor of the Tower of Trials, we see the Cathedral of Aversion. Inside, a person uses a shield door to block a barrage of arrows. A woman, very angry, wonders, "Why is the security so annoying in this place?" She asks her partner, "Do we have to enter this way every single time?" Her companion reveals, "Alex's elimination is irritating me." The girl asks, "Should I care about your feelings?" She then points a weapon in his direction. A third person arrives and orders them both to stop fighting. This is a man in a black cloak and a white raven mask. He says, "You have been companions for over 10 years. Stop trying to eliminate each other. The reason I called you two is because of the appearance of a new player on the blacklist, Kang Jin Hyuk." The woman scoffs. "I bet he has played some games before. He is no different from other rankers." However, the leader tells her, "Do not be careless. He might have reached a higher floor than us." She replies, "Our bosses were crazy enough to climb to the 20th floor. Her partner agrees, finding the masked man's reaction somewhat exaggerated. Their motivation was to choose the Tower of Trials to avoid international police surveillance. No other group shares such motivations. She questions, why would anyone keep playing this game, even if they were some kind of lunatic? The masked man realizes that both are taking this seriously and can understand each other. He adds, "However, you must not underestimate Kang, even if you have eliminated previous threats." Then, he orders them both to follow Kedrick. He instructs them to help Kedrick so that his plan does not go wrong this time. Next, we see two other people training Muay Thai with protective gear, but one woman delivers such a powerful kick that it rips the boy's protective clothing off. After the training, he tells the woman named Nuna to watch a video on his tablet. The video in question is about the masked man he has been following for a while. Nuna asks, "Is he not just a star player like others?" The young man affirms, "There is something different about him." She recognizes the Temple of the Trees with human faces, where the boss of the third floor is located. The young man says, "That place is famous. If you answer 3 questions, he gives a reward, either an item or a skill. However, the real problem is that his questions are ridiculously difficult, impossible for anyone to answer correctly. People in the chat ask, was he not going to easily defeat the boss? Some even think he is a man cosplaying as an unknown and not the real one. The tree with the face says, it has been a long time since a human visited us. Then it asks, did you come to answer our questions? Our protagonist replies, you can send your best. The tree with the face then says, if you manage to answer all 3 questions, I will give you a type of leaf that I possess. However, if you answer even one of them incorrectly, you will be punished. You will be punished by other trees that have created arms and legs, and they are armed. The first question will now be asked to our protagonist. He is asked about the perfect depth and temperature for the Kelgorn species to inhabit. The spectators think that is an impossible question, asked to the wrong person. However, for our protagonist, it was an easy task. He confidently replied that the perfect depth was 175 meters, and the ideal temperature was 1.5 degrees. The viewers watching this were shocked by the ease with which he answered. Overly confident, the elder tree instructed him to ask the next question, certain that he had answered correctly. The tree was left speechless, stating that the next question would not be easy. It then asked how to obtain the spongy body of a Feliani. Our hero explained it in a detailed manner. The tree was extremely shocked. It then posed the final question, asking about the time of year when giant eagles reproduce. Our hero pressed the red button and declared, the answer is when the snow falls on the tower. The tree affirmed that he was the first human to answer all of its questions. It also stated that they had enjoyed the interaction. The chat went wild, proclaiming it was the first time they had ever seen someone win this quiz. As a reward, he would receive any maple leaves he desired, choosing between red, yellow, and green ones. It was explained that the red leaves possessed a fire attribute, while the yellow ones increased defense. Finally, the green leaves increased movement speed. Nuna believed that the man should choose the speed-boosting leaves, as he would soon face the boss of the 3rd floor. However, as he made his decision, he decided to disregard those common leaves. He had something else in mind. Approaching the tree, he leaned in close and asked for the secret black leaves. At that moment, the monster was shocked, asking, how do you know about the black leaves? It pleaded with him to choose anything else but those, even offering both the red and green leaves together. He reminded the tree that it had offered him anything he wanted, should he answer its questions. He therefore told it to stop stalling and immediately hand over the black leaf, so as not to dishonor the tree's spirits. He then questioned the tree, asking what would happen if he reported it to management. According to the tree spirit, he was then given the reward of the black leaves. These leaves were an AAA grade item. When placed on a weapon or armor, they caused a corruption effect. This was the final piece of the puzzle. Now, it was time for the unknown person to leave, but only after defeating the giant monsters in the area. It was stated that the unknown person had already begun the 3rd floor boss raid, alone. They commented that this was sooner than expected, and now they only needed to stay there for a short time before returning home. They questioned if there was even a need to protect this place, as no one would be crazy enough to venture there. They were certain there were reasons for it. They concluded that questioning further would accomplish nothing. Suddenly, everyone vanished. Black portals appeared at their feet. These portals pulled the guards underground. The demonic humans ordered them to guard their life force, as they would need to gather as much as possible. Then, we see Julius Cedric stating, that damn unknown person has already started the raid. Meanwhile, our protagonist was confronting monsters on his 3rd floor mission. The chat found him terrifying. They wondered if he would defeat the boss all by himself. People argued that the moment they opened the live stream, they saw him and felt he was trustworthy. However, some people did not believe he could win against the boss alone. The unknown person stated, it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. You are all annoying. Shut up. However, the chat refused to believe he was talking directly to them and insulting them in such a way. He affirmed he was indeed speaking to them, adding, if you don't want to watch, you can leave the live stream. He commented on how, for most, conventional praise in the industry typically correlated with viewership numbers. But if he shows a particular concept from the very beginning, he will create a fandom centered around people who enjoy that type of behavior. True to his word, people in the chat found his personality chic and amusing. They weren't even irritated. While our protagonist progressed through the 3rd floor, a large purple explosion occurred in the distance. It caught his attention, making him wonder if there was anyone else in the raid. Immediately afterward, he ended the live broadcast and the chat went wild. Soon, a flood of people began attacking the creatures on the floor. These were demonic humans, using their black cloaks and invoking magic to defeat the monsters in the area. A war ensued between the creatures of the 3rd floor and the demonic humans confronting them. Our hero observed from a distance, noting that the demons were very well aligned. Our hero also notices an improvement in their combat compared to previous encounters. Suddenly, the demonic humans warn each other that soldiers are approaching, forcing them to press their attack. They decide to leverage this advantage to defeat the creatures. However, long-range enemy attacks are swiftly eliminating the demonic humans. In response, They invoke shields for protection, wondering about the source of these projectiles. They realize it is a masked man, throwing ice shards at them. Noticing he is alone, the necromancers and their summoned creatures attempt to get rid of him. Skeleton archers try to hit our hero with arrows. He runs at high speed, dodging successfully, and some arrows hit the raid monsters instead. Then he activates the star's blessing ability, launching a beam of light at the creatures. None of them can control their summons due to his divine power. They must hurry and focus on regaining control. But suddenly, a giant monster appears, throwing demonic humans into the air. It reaches Lord Cedric, warning him that Team 3 has been entirely destroyed. Cedric already sees what is happening, so no one needed to tell him. To control these undead monsters, Cedric formed 4 teams. Now, Team 3 is gone. If Team 1 is also destroyed, the connection they established to control them will completely collapse, ruining his plan. Our protagonist continues to advance, stating, "You won't catch me while being so slow." Battle Moai statues emerge, pursuing our high-level newcomer. The demonic humans are in shock, trying to figure out where the masked man went. They cannot see him until the unknown individual suddenly appears behind 2 of them. He declares, "Demonic humans, you cannot stop me." This leaves them utterly shocked. Unable to react due to the surprise, they are crushed by the Battle Moai statues. They warn that Team 1 is being destroyed, and they cannot allow it, or they will be surrounded. Julius yells, "You are all screwing up my plan. What is wrong with my subordinates?" He activates the Pyramid Guardian ability using his Skull Scepter. His subordinates warn him that if he uses this ability, he will not have enough mana to face the boss. He threatens to eliminate our protagonist using all his powers. He commands the mummies he summoned to awaken, calling them guardians. At that moment, he falls to his knees, devoid of energy, stating, "I have exceeded my limits." He orders a demonic human to approach, then touches his subordinate's shoulders. He begins to drain his minion's life energy to recover his strength. He tells him, "Be quiet. It will hurt more if you resist." The masked man thinks he is insane for absorbing his own comrade's soul. After doing this, he feels better, and his eyes begin to glow red. He tells the protagonist, "We will begin our battle anew. Now I have mummies by my side." The mummies charge at our hero at high speed, enraged. The old man asks, "What do you think of my army?" It is stronger now. He asserts that his mummy soldiers can freely manipulate bandages as if they were metal. They are stronger undead, possessing both offensive and defensive abilities. They attack the third-floor monsters using their metallic bandages. Cedric intended to save them for the boss fight, but he is certain it will be worth it to eliminate our hero. He commands the masked monster, "Go straight to hell." The pair from earlier realize that the masked bastard is better than they imagined. They have not seen Cedric act like this in a long time. They believe his actions are becoming stupid. He is not calculating the difference between himself and his opponent. The unknown individual must think he can face him after seeing the skeletons and the night. This was a terrible decision, as Julius's innate ability is more problematic than the monsters. Since things have come to this point, they will not need to intervene. Suddenly, the fight draws closer to the duo, becoming much more explosive. The masked man recalls an experience he had in a game a long time ago. A bearded old man once told him that his blade was strong, but he was putting too much force into it, dispersing its power. The old man explained that a true expert could cut using a string with the same power. Just as the wind wraps around the air, all he needed to do was use his sword with softness. Then, at the right moment, he should unleash it with the correct force, using a string to demonstrate this principle. The old man asked if he was interested in learning his pendulum spirit sword arts. Now, our protagonist can imitate a part of the pendulum spirit sword arts he had learned. Using this skill, he can transform his sword into a pendulum, defeating several monsters. His mastery of the ability increases tremendously, allowing him to easily defeat various mummies. Cedric never imagined that a magic vortex could be strong enough to suck in its surroundings. This massive vortex was created by the pendulum spirit sword art. Our hero then unleashes its 5th movement, the pendulum spirit nirvana. This creates a huge maelstrom that sends everything into the air and destroys everything it touches. Meanwhile, Cedric activates his double shield ability to protect himself from this maelstrom. Cedric becomes enraged, asking, how did he get so strong when less than 6 months have passed since the world changed? His shield begins to crack, and he feels the full impact of our protagonist's magic. Eventually, his shield shatters completely, and he is swallowed by the pendulum spirit maelstrom. The magic deactivates, and the demonic human lies on the ground, severely wounded. Deciding he must escape, as this is a fight he can never win, he starts screaming orders for someone to stop this man and protect him. The masked man remarks, he acts just like his disciples. When he realizes he will lose, even after showing off, all he can do is flee pathetically. Cedric hears this and understands that he is Kangjin Hyok. He asks Julius, tell your disciple I said hello in my place because I was also defeated by Kang. The leader of the demonic humans begins to to scream in pain as he is set ablaze by Jin's magic. The masked man requests, "Tell his disciple that I sent him to keep you company, so you won't be bored." In moments, Cedric is completely consumed by the hero's magical flames and is eliminated. After this, the necromancer's summoned creatures begin to disintegrate on the battlefield. The demonic humans are shocked to realize that Cedric has been defeated, and they fall into despair. Following their despair, they start being eliminated by the monsters of the third floor. Using the pendulum spirit Nirvana was incredibly exhausting, and our hero overexerted himself. For this reason, he purchases 4 medium mana recovery potions. Even so, it would be a waste not to enter the boss room after all of this. He decides to give it his all, using the mana potions to recover. He notices a shield flying towards his location, and remembers using something similar in the past. Picking up the small shield and placing it on his arm, he recovers some memories. He looks at gigantic creatures, his sword and shield in hand. The temple guardians of the 4 great heavenly kings appear. Our protagonist then prepares to face these gigantic creatures. The monsters try to attack him, but he defends using his shield. As he dodges, he states, "These statues are quite silent." He then uses his purple sword to deliver precise cuts to the temple guardians. He demands, "Hand over the keys already. I'm tired." The temple guardians are startled by the boy's strength. Our hero jumps and attacks them, breaking parts of the statues, including their heads. Using his shield to defend against their blows, he tries to recall the guardians' attack patterns. One of them uses the stone pagoda of illumination. This is a type of key shaped like a golden flower. This key, which leads to the main boss hall, begins to react and emit a glow. At that moment, the being beyond the portal begins to respond to the guardian's call. Our hero agrees that this being was more determined than he had imagined. Suddenly, a massive orange lotus flower appears in the center of the area. Numerous golden hands emerge, shattering the ground. From nowhere, the 1,000-armed, 1,000-eyed monster Avalokitesvara materializes. It had been a long time since the 4 heavenly kings last invoked this divinity. Avalokitesvara had not anticipated a human among the invaders who could pose a threat to the key within the stone. Our protagonist states, "This is nothing. I will eliminate the boss of this floor." The 1,000-armed monster acknowledges our hero's bravery. Kang wants to end this now, as he is tired. The monster, however, desires to converse more. Our hero begins to levitate, declaring, "I do not like conversations with statues." The monster retorts, "Every second is a gift. You are a very whole human." As it readies weapons from its arms, it commands, "Remember this moment. You will miss it when you are on the verge of death." Our hero raises his shield, while the entity readies its weapons for an attack. The attack is massive, yet the masked hero dodges it with high speed. His shield begins to crack under the powerful blows. He had anticipated overwhelming power, and it was enough to nearly cleave his body in half. However, he must resist, as he only has one chance to succeed. The entity had not expected him to react to a sonic attack. Its interest in the masked hero intensifies, and it attempts to unleash another attack. In response, our protagonist activates an ice formation. He uses large ice stakes to halt the creature's attacks. Its golden spear penetrates the ice, but fails to hit the human. This infuriates the statue, which complains he is using disgusting Western sorcery. Suddenly, our protagonist hurls his shield, and the statue catches it with ease. It remarks, "That was a very low and stupid trick for a young human." However, the shield begins to glow with a corrupted red hue. The statue asserts, "That was another low trick that did not work." Avalokitesvara states, "Things like poison do not work against me." Our hero explains, "This is called Blood Demon's IQ. It causes continuous damage when it inflicts a wound." The statue dismisses it. "It does not matter. A low trick like that will not work a second time." It adds, "Even if I was hit, it will be useless to have torn off one of my arms." Our hero replies, "Taking off arms is nothing if I want to eliminate you." Yet he had achieved exactly what he wanted, now holding a blue orb in his hands. The statue realizes that from the beginning, he had aimed for the arm where the jewel was attached. Our hero retorts, "Blame yourself for thinking a single, insignificant arm. After all, Kang Jin combines the grimoire of the principality and the jewel from the 1,000-armed monster. After combining the 2 items, he obtains the S-rank Lemegeton of the Golden Dawn. This divine artifact, a grimoire of Solomon, allows the user to display the power of magical abilities to the extreme. Our protagonist also activates the Eye of Gluttony, believing this will be enough. Opening the status window, there is no age or level displayed for the 1,000-armed Avalokitesvara. The copy condition is to mock the opponent for 5 minutes. ice and use ice magic to create a sculpture of it. Furthermore, a song and appropriate attire must accompany the completion of these conditions. Our hero finds it ridiculous that a song and a sculpture are the conditions for copying the skill. He considers the system to be getting crazier, but he knows he can do it. He invokes a music player, deciding not to give up, even if the condition is highly eccentric. After all, this is the only place where he can obtain the mandala below the 25th floor. The thousand-armed, thousand-eyed statue wonders what our protagonist is doing. Suddenly, music begins to play, and he implores the monster, please do not ask any more questions. He, too, hates having to submit to such a ridiculous act. He then puts on a wig. The statue grows increasingly irritated by the antics he is performing in front of it. Avalokitesvara activates its mandala, attacking our hero. I will make Kang Jin Hyuk feel the pain of a million samsaras. Our protagonist then begins to activate the glacial formation to counter the statue. The ice barrier successfully shields him from the golden statue's attacks. Our protagonist assumes that this advanced version of the ice formation is truly impressive. The people watching the fight cannot believe what is happening. The masked individual put on music and is now confronting the thousand-armed monster. He has significantly evolved his ice magic. They also question why he is wearing a wig from the game's store. They find him incredibly unpredictable, as he is challenging this monster immediately after eliminating Cedric. The overwhelming power of the thousand-armed Avalokitesvara can typically only be withstood by those who have surpassed the 10th floor. They believe he is worthy of being called the second boss of the 3rd floor due to his immense strength. However, a person who confronts such a being has already exceeded the limits of the human realm. A woman asks her companion, "Do you think we could win if we joined forces with him?" She tells her colleague, Li Chao, "We cannot do this alone. We need the help of an executive." Li responds, "If we do that, the position we worked so hard to achieve will be destroyed." He adds, "I will not be eliminated because of this. The time has come to use my coin." When the woman sees him holding the coin, which emanates purple energy, she smiles. The protagonist realizes that Julius was not the only one sent by the demonic humans. At that moment, he struggles to withstand one of the statue's attacks and feels pain. The creature becomes enraged, saying, "You dared to tear out one of my eyes." It then activates the fire element and says, "I was distracted while fixing my hair." Next, he uses his grimoire and activates the glacial formation, combining it with fire. Feeling a certain tension thanks to his opponent, he throws numerous ice stakes towards the statue. The thousand-armed statue begins to shatter the ice stakes with its weapons. However, our veteran protagonist does not stop launching a barrage of glacial stakes. The statue continues to break them with its weapons and calls him fool. The thousand-armed Avalokitesvara activates the Great Inescapable. It asks, is all our protagonist capable of doing just defending himself? Enraged, it unleashes a massive attack and demands, where is the confidence you showed before? It uses the amalgamation of heaven and earth within the grid to launch an attack that the protagonist cannot dodge. Kang Jin raises an ice barrier to protect himself from his enemy's multiple attacks. The golden statue declares, resisting my attacks is futile. It then uses disapproval and activates the swastika spear ability. The swastika is a Buddhist symbol, and the statue takes this spear, attacking our protagonist with it. With this attack, the ice barrier is destroyed. The statue grows confident, believing it has wounded our hero. The protagonist scoffs at the monster's previous statement that a cheap shot would not work twice. Emerging from within the grid with magic in his hand, he says, "It worked extremely well." He then prepares his strike, using his magic to create a glacial prison. This prison completely envelops the thousand-armed monster. Our protagonist asks, "Do you know how much your hatred for my ice magic saddens me?" He questions, "How can someone who claims to have achieved nirvana through self-discipline be so prejudiced? There is nothing better than shock therapy for someone like you." Kang Jin Hyuk begins the process of creating an ice statue of Avalokitesvara. This enrages the statue, making it want to inflict infinite pain upon the human. It swears, "I will make you reincarnate as an insect next time." However, the condition is fulfilled, and he successfully copies the S-rank mandala skill. This is a unique ability that allows the user to infuse their special power into weapons. This copied skill is then saved within the world's memories. Our protagonist removes his wig and conjures the mandala skill. This leaves the statue in shock. It asks, "How are you using my ability? How did you reproduce my mandala, which I created after countless days of suffering?" Our protagonist does not respond, but assures the statue that he will use its mandala in a very good way. He then controls an ice arm, directing it toward his enemy. It strikes the creature right in the middle of its chest, causing immense pain. In a matter of moments, the golden statue is completely destroyed by its own mandala. Kang Jin Hyuk levels up twice after defeating Avalokitesvara. He acquires the stone statue key, which is used to summon the 3rd floor boss. He always found dealing with the golden statue annoying, even before facing the main boss. Facing Cedric and the 1,000-armed monster had required a lot of effort from Kang. He decides to invest his attributes into mana, increasing it from 71 to 77. Feeling lighter, he believes this was a very good choice. He then realizes he needs something to boost his mana even further, recalling that he still has some plagues left. The environment of the test tower is quite special. When night arrives, the temperature drops, and the aggression and power of monsters greatly increase. Because of this, most players usually leave the tower at night. They stop hunting, seeking a safe place. Our protagonist, however, sits around a bonfire cooking a giant shrimp. This type of shrimp can only be caught on the 3rd floor. As he eats, he is surprised by how good it tastes, a flavor he had not experienced in so long. Suddenly, he sees people approaching. They were attracted by the delicious smell of his food. The approaching duo explains that they need to find a place for the rest of the night. They ask if they can stay with Kang. Our protagonist does not respond immediately, but then tells them they can sit and take shelter from the cold. The duo thanks him, introducing themselves as Melina and Li Chao. They affirm that they have been through a lot. Kang offers them some of the food, as he prepared a large amount. They appreciate his goodwill, but state they do not want to eat anything offered by strangers. He then asks if they are bothered by his mask. Li responds, "Yes, because you are hiding something." Our hero says that if they are bothered, he can remove his mask for them. The duo becomes excited, eager to discover the stranger's true face. However, Kang states that it would be boring to reveal it all at once. He decides to play a game. He tells them that if they answer his 3 questions, he will remove his mask. Li thinks that if they answer the questions even by lying, there will be no problem. After all, there is no way for Kang to know if they are telling the truth or not. And even though they do not know what he is planning, they believe they have nothing to lose. Li then flips a coin to decide who will be the first to start the game of questions.